Hello, 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 chat. Hello, and thank you for joining me today on an extra morning stream. Not usually, we don't usually stream on Saturdays, but due to the well, the persnickety nature of YouTube this past week, I decided it was only fair that we just have a makeup stream this Saturday morning. Plus, we can have some fun either way. So, I hope everyone is doing fantastic. I hope everyone is having a fantastic Saturday morning so far. Yeah, I've collected some delicious morning nonsense for everyone. Hopefully, we'll have a nice time, and hopefully, if you're having a bad day, then this will make it at least a little bit better. Hopefully, that'll be excellent. But now, for some reason, if you're looking for the stream from yesterday, is why I'm doing a stream today. But if you, it's part of the same reason why I'm doing a stream today, because same reasons why you can't find yesterday's stream, because yesterday's stream was taken down by the bots again. Oh, but the reason why, however, this time is because it was a 4-hour stream, but it's a big no-no because I played 2 minutes of Stanley talking. So obviously they had to block it worldwide. I played Stanley talking for 2 minutes. They blocked a 4-hour stream worldwide. Fantastic, YouTube. Fantastic. Thank you very much. 4 hours gone because of 2 minutes. Okay. Let's see what we can do. Let's see what we can do, chat, because we got some things to go over. Things to go over. It's gonna be a lot of fun, I hope. Lots of fun. So let's check things out. Let's check things out, shall we? Also, while I'm pulling this up, let's see here. Dr. Alpha, of course, eagerly and enthusiastically surpassed the goal of 37,000. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat. Appreciate it. To everyone who backed. I appreciate every single one of you. It's awesome, fantastic. And I'm planning to have the second run through of Doki Doki Literature Club, or our continuation, to be next Saturday. That way, everyone has enough time to plan out things, just in case people who want to watch it can. If I'll see if I get Smud Boy back on. Might take some convincing, chat. Might take some convincing, but I'll see what I can do. I will see what I can do. Let's see here. Well, we got some interesting developments since yesterday. It's fantastic. So let's check this out. Let's see here. There we go. If any of you heard of Gotham High, it's a brand spanking new attempt at garnering new readers from DC. And it was, you see, DC has a YouTube channel currently of, say, about 2 million people. But 2.6 million people. It's almost hedging over the hill of 3 million. Let's see here. That cringe. Hey, Lit, really like your voice. Do you plan on doing any reading on your channel? Actually, I do have some. It's just they were unlisted because YouTube kind of banishes you to oblivion if you have too many live streams on your channel as opposed to edited videos. But yeah, I do have some. I have some. I've actually have about what 2 or maybe 3 on available on Subscribestar. I read through some of my old stories on Subscribestar. Some of my very early private streams on Subscribestar. So if you're interested in that, those are still up. Those are still accessible if you're interested. I'm not sure if I can. Let's see. We'll see what I can do with the other ones. I'm planning on actually re-releasing them, rereading over them, and then re-releasing them on my main channel. But we'll see what happens. Not the ones on Subscribestar, but the ones I unlisted on the main channel, like the Punisher ones, and the what should I call it? The other ones from Dr. Alpha Universe, Oculus Limited. I was going to reread over those and then make it a little clearer, a little more crisp, maybe more like an audiobook than a live reading, and then re-release them on my channel. That'd be fantastic. I think I like that idea. What about you, chat? Do you like that idea? Let's reread over everything and let's release them as more of like an audiobook. Maybe add a little dramatization in there, maybe some background sounds. We'll see what happens. But I think people might like that idea. Let's see here. Barry Ben, sorry, Literature Devil. I'm bringing Gundam on the Gundam Info YouTube page. Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's see here. So, has anyone heard of the Gotham High? It's everything you'd expect. To be quite honest, it's everything you'd expect from DC nowadays. It has all the stuff that all the calling cards of SOW nonsense, and of course, it is young adult. It's targeted towards young adults because everything SOWs do is targeted towards young adults. It's really creepy. I don't know why. It's really strange, but they usually target things towards young kids or young adults, and then inject a creepy weirdo politics into there. And this seems to be no exception. I mean, so let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and maximize this, put it full screen. And I want you to see because I was watching a stream yesterday with Ethan Skyver and his crew, and I had always thought there's something about SJW art that you can always tell by the first glance, by one glance, that it's clearly SJW art. And I noticed by the colors, but I couldn't put my finger on what reason that color is. What's the reasoning? What kind of color pattern it is? It's pastel, but it's not always just that tone that fixes up a story as an SJW story. But they identified it. So, and it's true. I looked into it. It's true. So, let's see if you can identify it, Chad. Let's go through this. Let's go through this trailer piece by piece, and we'll see if we can identify the identifiable trait of SJW works. So let's check this out.
Welcome to Gotham High, where everyone worships the rich and the...
Yeah. This premise is Batman, but everyone's in high school. It's not an occasion of. It's just Gotham High, where it's just high school students who take place in Gotham. When they talk about Batman, they talk about Robin, and talk about Joker, and anything like that. That's normal high school kids going through their years at Gotham High. No, it's just Batman, but at high school. So Bruce Wayne, he's going to high school. He's going to this nice little what public high school or something, and then of course Joker's there. Well, he's called Jack Napier here, and everyone is here. All the villains and all the Bat family, they're all apparently in high school together. So that's where we are, Chad. That's the premise of this whole thing, and it's really funny. I'll tell you why this is really funny because the whole thing is resting on a very funny premise. I'll tell you why when we get to it. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. And no one is richer or more handsome than Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have friends.
I like this part, Chad. Bruce Wayne doesn't have friends.
He has followers. My friend Jack Napier has nothing to.
Yeah, so Bruce Wayne is this. He's not Batman. He's this rich, handsome young man. He's 17 and he has 2.4 million followers on Twitter. You notice they use Twitter as the preferred, as the preferred uh, mode and method of social media that everyone uses because Twitter has become the SJW NPC matrix. It's not real life. Twitter is not real life. It's more like a safe space. It's a matrix, pretty much. It's a matrix. You ever seen the movie The Matrix? It's more or less the Matrix, but for far leftist NPC weirdos. All their views are pandered to. Everyone who disagrees with them is easily taken off the platform. Everyone who is n- is not in full step with far leftists or NPC weirdo views and all that stuff. You're easily banned or taken off the platform or put in the timeout corner on Twitter. However, if you are on the other side, if you are an NPC, SJW ally, or one of them exactly, then you can do whatever you want on that platform and you won't take any consequences. So, of course, they would run to Twitter. Of course, they would use Twitter as the preferred method of social media because YouTube is confiscate country. It's also been surmised that the only right wingers, only big ones on Twitter that survive are the ones that are really, really crazy, the ones that are really, really extreme, that are really, really right wing, uh, but only the ineffective ones. They get some effective ones on there, but it's been surmised that if the more ineffective you are, the more extreme you are in your right wing politics, the better chance you have of remaining on Twitter. Just so that the far leftist NPC weirdos, uh, well, they can kind of showcase you as kind of like a see we're right sort of thing. Look at this crazy right winger. So that's been surmised by some people, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure if that part is true, but what is true is that Twitter is definitely a far leftist NPC weirdo matrix. But here we go. Let's finish. Let's go. Let's continue. Trying to chop this up a little bit so that we, by some sort of grace of your preferred deity, that we're able to stay online. The bots are hungry, chat. The bots are really hungry.
His name, except good looks and a wicked sense of humor.
Yeah, that's the Joker, by the way. That's the Joker, the guy who's just has nothing to his name but good looks, and everyone finds him like he's so hot. He's so he's just a his I think they said his girl game is nothing to joke about. So this Joker. Obviously, he's handsome. What do you think is going, chat? What do you think is going? I don't think it's not that hard to predict where this is going. So Bruce Wayne gets introduced, right? Then Jack Napier, the Joker, gets introduced, and they made him handsome instead of ugly or an outcast. They made him a ladies' man instead of this weirdo outcast, like a social pariah, like he probably would have been. So, what do you think this is going? A Criminal Imagination. Thank you very much for the 20. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. My friend showed me a scene from DC Girls show where the Deathstroke has Batgirl pinned to the ground. He thinks shows with scenes like that are made to groom younger girls. Gotham High makes me think. Wait, what? He said that. Deathstroke said that. Shows with scenes like that are meant to groom younger girls. Other High makes me think he's onto something. He might be. These. I'm not sure what they're trying to do, but they're obviously trying to appeal to the like the teenager crowd, the teenage girl crowd, or younger crowd. Look, they're on social media. He's rich. He's handsome. Things like this. The Prince and the Pauper. You have a Prince and Pauper, which with Bruce Wayne being the prince, of course, and Jack Napier in this case being the pauper. Really interesting stuff. But where do you think this is going, Chad? Where do you think this is going? What kind of premise and plot do you think this is going with? I think you might know. Probably can come to the conclusion. Let's see here. Let's see here. And the Hex Harper, write comic books. Ask Gail. Oh yeah, you have to go ask Gail. She gives you free advice because no one would dare pay for it. Funny stuff. Fantastic. See, Hack for Life, Batman would never use social media. You're right on that. See, that's what I'm thinking too. I think it's so strange that Bruce Wayne, the guy who would become Batman, the brooding loner, the brooding introvert guy, he would be the guy on social media. He'd be one of these pop star kids. He'd be like a Jaden Smith on Twitter, just with 2.4 million followers or something. I have like he's this popular jock guy. I've a lot of trouble believing that Bruce Wayne would use social media in this manner. He doesn't have friends; he has followers. I don't think so. It doesn't really fit with his character. This is the guy who would very soon, at least very soon from this Gotham High moment, like very soon after this, right? He would be going off into training. He's going to be going off into because I think what he became Batman when he was what 25. So he had to spend at least a few years trading and doing his world hopping thing. So or country hopping, continent hopping, that sort of thing. Going to the one master to the next, doing his training because that's how he got his powers and skills because he trained with mentors, several mentors at that. In fact, his whole trip has kind of been like a plot insulator for Batman. If they need him to learn a new skill, they say, "Oh, he learned it during his trip away from Gotham, from this master, that master." But yeah, he trained. He went through years and years of training, so it would be pretty soon after this, supposedly, that he went to go train. I don't think he would use social media. It'd be kind of strange if that happened. I mean, yeah, his parents are really, really, really popular. They're basically big time celebrities because of what they do in Gotham. But for some reason, Bruce Wayne doesn't strike me as the guy who would pay much attention to social media. Not everybody does. Not everybody does. So yeah, you're right on that one. I don't think so. I don't think Bruce Wayne is a social media guy.
The problem is that
Like, could you imagine Bruce Wayne? Like, just go back to this. Imagine Bruce Wayne just going on social media and then trolling for likes, just saying things like, "We need free healthcare now." Like everyone likes his tweets. I couldn't imagine Bruce Wayne becoming and and a slave to like and retweet buttons, like so many people have become on Twitter. Say whatever. Don't say what's on your mind. Say what will get you the most likes and retweets. I don't think that's Bruce Wayne.
I love them both. I'm Selena Kyle, that girl next door. And in my opinion, a triangle is a perfect shape.
Okay, so there you go, chat. There's the that's the premise of this whole thing. Uh, high school girl falls in love with two handsome guys. One rich, one he should have been lesser. But he's like a ladies' man too. So I don't know. I don't know. They made Jack Napier a ladies' man, so he's not really any lesser than Bruce Wayne, except he's not rich, and he's not. Of course, they're both interested in her. Of course, she's interested in both of them. This is funny because this has shown us that DC has become so desperate, has become so devoid of ideas, that they are literally pushing your most basic of fan fiction plots on us. This is such a fan fiction premise It is a joke. Like it was a running joke. What are you going? So if someone's saying they're writing a fan fiction, this is a running joke. Okay, this is well, what's it going to be about? A high school girl who falls in love with two handsome guys. It's kind of like that one sitcom situation where it's become such a joke. Also, oh no, she the spring dance is coming up, and she has two dates for it. It's that basic. It's that level of basic, chat. It's that level of basic. So that's what struck me as funny. That's what really struck me as funny, because this is this is where they are, chat. This is in the time of desperation and the time of need. This is what DC tries to pump out. This is what DC tries to inflict on us. Not something imaginative. Not something nearly imaginative. Okay, not just high school kids or running around doing their thing while living in a city like Gotham. Not even uh, Bruce Wayne in high school with everyone else. But it has to be a love triangle where the main character is Selena Kyle, and she's in love with two very handsome, very available men, and they're in love with her also. This happens all the time. This is such a basic thing. It requires no imagination at all. They just copied and pasted one of the most basic foundational plot points or plot premises of fan fiction, of high school level fan fiction, and they turned it into an actual DC product. This is where they are, chat. This is how desperate they are. They're just greenlighting anything now. Let's see here. Let's see here. Archmage, hold up. Joker plus Batman love triangle. I don't even have any words for that. Yeah, it's awful. So they didn't even try. They didn't even try. There's not even trying anymore. They're not even trying to hide that they're being biased anymore. They're just out there not producing comics and stories that we would like, but just producing comics and stories that they personally like. They're using DC, they're using Marvel to produce not the next great adventure in Batman history, but in order to, you know, fulfill their own personal fantasies. Because that's why this is a fan fiction level plot, because it's there not really to entertain us, but for the author to fulfill their own romantic fantasies and the world they so choose. A Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. Remember when Selena had a thing for the Joker? No? Well, here's your comic book. Stop. Yeah. It, anyone else find that strange that suddenly Selena Kyle has a thing for the Joker because what, he's handsome? And apparently Jack Napier is like some sort of hillbilly. Is he supposed to be like a bender? They're trying to make Jack Napier this sort of like a outcast, this edgy guy bender type. He's Why would he be the type to take selfies and post on social media? Not everyone posts on social media, okay? Not like that. Some people use social media just for communication. Some people just use it to see what the latest news is about. It takes a special sort of person to post on social media these pictures and make pretty much build their life on it. It's attention seekers, and that if Jack Napier is supposed to be characterized as some sort of rebel, some sort of guy outside of outside of it all or above it all, or pictures himself above it all, which would be fitting with the Joker's mentality, then I don't think he'll be using social media. Like I don't think either Bruce Wayne or Jack Napier will be using social media. They're kind of the opposites of the same coin. At the same coin of not using social media. I've seen the Kyle, she definitely would use social media. I could definitely see that. Harley Quinn, absolutely. Uh, the what's her name? Poison Ivy, absolutely. They would definitely be using social media, and they all have the same. They'll have they hold on, chat. Hold on. 1 second, chat. They all have the same personality type, or a similar personality type to use social media in the way that they have pictured Bruce and Jack Napier using it here. So let's see here. Insult Human Race, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. And this is the company some people are saying will save Marvel. It doesn't look like it. It's DC has announced that they saw the Marvel structure, the Marvel plan, and said, "Hey, that looks like a good idea. Let's do that." It saw Marvel failing, falling down, and their comics not selling and remaining on store shelves, and they said, "We should try that. Let's go woke." Sounds like a good idea. Hex Harper, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. Two guys like the same girl isn't a love triangle. It's more like a correct. When was the last time it was ever an actual triangle? Shakespeare? Yeah, I mean, wasn't isn't triangle? It has three sides, right? So wouldn't a love triangle actually be Jack Napier, Bruce Wayne love Selena Kyle, and then she loves one of them back, and then Bruce Wayne and Jack Napier love each other. Oh, wait a minute, maybe it is a triangle. Maybe because Jack Napier and Bruce Wayne, they kind of have a relationship going on. It's that isn't your traditional relationship, especially on the Joker side. Have you seen The Dark Knight? The Dark Knight Returns. Joker's literally gay for Batman. Same thing with the Scott Snyder, I think the guy, if that's the guy, if I remember correctly, who wrote Death of the Family and the Court of Owls. He plays on that too, where the Joker looks at Batman and he Joker can tell in his eyes that when Joker looks at Batman, it's in a look of love and affection. However, the difference here is that Jack Napier or the Joker does not like Bruce Wayne, just Batman. So, I mean, if they could have like an actual triangle where Bruce Wayne and Jack Napier like each other, and Jack Napier likes Selena Kyle, and Bruce Wayne likes Selena Kyle, and she likes both of them, then it'd be you would have the three sides connected. And like, for some reason, it would work with this one. It would work with these characters more or less on a very basic level. Let's see here. Ben Z, thanks for the 2. And now we see the death of Marvel. Yeah, I think what I think I heard a rumor. Someone they wrote articles on this. They wrote articles on this that actually Marvel is planning to take over the publishing for DC, or at least was. They were. It was kind of in the ether that that's a possibility that might actually happen. But I don't think anymore. The comic book industry is effectively shut down, or in the middle of being shut down. Not looking good for them. Not looking good for them at all, chat. HK47 for life. Thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. How about instead of this story, Bruce has begun learning to solve crimes, and then classmates start dying, and he has to investigate, and it's the Joker. Well, I mean, that would be an actual good story if you wanted to put it in a high school setting, well, to utilize Bruce Wayne's innate skills and show off his genius and show off his determination. Because Bruce Wayne didn't change his whole entire personality when his parents died. He probably was always determined, strong-willed, and a pretty brilliant, pretty observant as a person before his parents died. So this would be a good opportunity to showcase all that, but that would be a good story. That would make sense, and we couldn't do this whole love triangle thing with characters that we know, and that's a big no-no. You can't do that, and you can't have that. You can't have that in YA. You just have to have cringy love triangles and stuff. That's what sells. If they showed us anything, if Marvel and DC have showed us anything, it's that these writers are just handed rewards, but they don't know how to actually sell a book. The only time they can sell a book, the only copies it can sell is either one by people who just want to buy these books because they exist, not really for the story, and just take a selfie with them. That's why they have to. That's why Marvel keeps having to cancel series and then rebooting them with new number one so they can get new sales in. Why they have to produce number ones with what 30 variant covers. That's why they have to do that, because no one's buying this stuff. They buy it once, they read the first issue, find out it's horrible, horrible dreck, and they never go back. Or they buy it once, take a selfie with it, and then kind of forget about it, or they don't even buy it at all, and they just tweet about it on social media, praising it, saying, "Oh, what a good move by Marvel. Are you going to buy this comic book? No, but it exists, so that's good." That's all they want. They want to change the way things are. That's their power fantasy. And these SJW writers are fulfilling that power fantasy by writing their own personal political fantasies, or in this case, their own personal romantic fantasy that no one wants to read. But what's even funnier about this is that this had actually had what wow, it really changed. But this is really funny. It's really, really funny, chat. Hold on. If you can see here, if you can see the like to dislike ratio, last night the like to dislike ratio was in favor of this trailer because nobody really watched it compared to relatively speaking. They had what maybe 13,000 views on this trailer from a channel that has 2.6 million subscribers, and they had what around 1,000 likes, maybe 500 dislikes. But of course, uh, Ethan Van Sciver rallied the troops, got to Comics Geek to say, "Okay, check this out. We can't have them think that this is a good idea. We can't have them thinking that they can produce nonsense like this and it go unpunished." So, so what happened, Chad, was everyone rushed to this trailer and downvoted it. So it went from 1,000 likes compared to maybe 500 dislikes to 1.2 thousand likes, and now 3.7 thousand dislikes. So the trailer is called Gotham High official trailer, and I'm not telling you what to do, Chad. But if you can go ahead and go to this trailer and express your opinion. I'll just say that. I would suggest that you would freely express your opinion if you have strong feelings about this trailer. Then tell DC what's on your mind because you're the customer. You're the people who would actually buy their product, and they need to know. I told them what was on my mind by giving them a nice big fat downvote on this trailer. No, no, no. No, no, no. I'm not going to buy your fan fiction. If I wanted to buy a fan fiction, Bruce Wayne, the Joker, and some random girl, uh, I don't have to do that. There's plenty of that online for free, probably written on the same skill level as this person. Okay, I don't need to go buying your romantic fantasy when I can read almost probably a huge heap of them, a huge heap of the same, probably the same exact setup for free. Okay, I don't need this. I don't need to give you money for stuff that's already available, countless areas and countless sites for free. Okay, DC, if you want my money, DC, you're gonna do better than trying to shovel onto me the most basic of fan fiction plots you can come up with. A Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. Small prediction. Selena walks out of porn. Oh, at porn prom with someone named Harleen Quinzel. Well, the other way would have been really shocking. Now that would get people reading. That would get people reading absolutely. It'd be gross because they're in high school, but I'm pretty sure it get people reading more than just love triangle. They were trying to push that onto us, you know. They're they're trying to instill in us the imagination of teen three ways with this the love triangle and how raunchy this sort of feel is. Oh, he doesn't have followers. He doesn't have friends. He has followers. And then Jack Napier's uh what's his? Let's go back to Jack Napier. Let's see what he has. Here we go. This is how they introduce Jack Napier. Oh yeah, my girl game is no joke and all this stuff. So it's very sexualized. They put sex in here as a kind of like a core element of this book. So yeah, that's what they're doing, Chad. That's what they're doing. Fulfilling their weird romantic fantasies all the way. It's kind of like, have you ever seen My Immortal? I'm getting that feeling from this. I'm getting that feeling from this. My Immortal, that horrific Harry Potter fan fiction, has gone down in history as probably one of the worst written fan fictions to ever be created. Yeah, I'm getting those kind of vibes from this chat. Those kind of vibes, easily, especially with all how how handsome everyone is, and they worship the rich and the beautiful, all that stuff. So yeah, chat. That's exactly what they're trying to do. But having seen this, okay, having seen this, when someone told me that they're doing Gotham High, actually kind of got excited because this is what I thought they were talking about. Check this out, chat. I got excited because I thought this is what they were trying to talk about. I thought this was finally being given the green light after what 7, 8 years. So let's check this out. I don't know if everyone has seen this before. This is actually an intro. This is an actual intro of of a Gotham High cartoon series way back when. I think it was like maybe over 7 or 8 years ago. But I kind of like the premise. I kind of like the intro. Kind of reminded me of some shows I really liked, and I would be willing to give it a chance. So when someone told me that, oh look, Gotham High, they're doing a Gotham High project, I thought they had finally greenlit this, and I was kind of excited, but they didn't. They came out with that dreck. But let's watch this anyway. I'll tell you what I like about it.
The whole damn world is just as obsessed with who's the best dressed and who's having sex.
Yeah, they still have it. It's still kind of raunchy and dirty, but it's a lot. It feels a lot less so. It seems like they just added that in the song lyrics, but it doesn't feel like you're gonna be going into this and immediately you're gonna be hit with teen threesomes and stuff. It's it's a lot. It feels a lot more wholesome, even though they had that factor in there. And I like this factor. Look, check this out. So, see if we can, so this is the Joker. This is the Joker in this one. He looks kind of nasty. He's very different looking. He looks like the Joker. He's he looks like a social pariah, like a social outcast. This is the Joker I would. This is what I imagine the Joker to look like in high school. This a social outcast and not very popular, but still a genius. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. That sort of character. However, that's not what they did in Gotham High, of course, because you can't have ugly men. You can't have a representation, of a diversity of men in there. Yeah, they'll have to be handsome and charismatic in some way. Did you notice that, chat? And the Gotham High, the one that they wanted to produce, the YA novel. Yeah, Selena Kyle isn't interested in any guy who is not charismatic or handsome. Okay, nobody, no diversity there, chat. She just likes guys who are charismatic and handsome, maybe even rich. But you had the other way around, and you had a guy who is in love with, I don't know, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy in high school or something, and they're both charismatic and beautiful, or traditionally beautiful. You would have an outroar, an outcry. Where's all the diversity? How come they're only? How come this guy is only in love with women who are traditionally attractive? Yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure that's what would happen, chat. Because you can't have. It's one rule for the, one rule, another rule for me. That sort of dynamic here. But yeah, they made Selena Kyle's love interests the most handsome and the most charismatic men in Gotham High. It's almost as if people like certain people. It's almost as if women like certain types of men. It's almost like if men prefer certain types of women traditionally. It's almost as if that's in the biology or something, you know, and not a social construct that they like to tell you it is. Let's continue with this little trailer.
Sex, who's got the money, who gets the honeys, who's kinda cute and who's just a man.
See, it's comedic. Of course, Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn are cheerleaders, and let's see here. Let's go back a little bit. And there's Selena Kyle in this one. She's like a goth. She's like a goth girl. she's a she's kind of a social outcast too, because all these people, all these Batman people, they're all kind of social outcasts or kind of social pariah. They're all different, no matter how charismatic or how attractive they are. They're all different. They're not normal people. Because if they were normal people, they wouldn't be dressing up in costumes and stealing things or fighting crime or committing crimes. So of course, Selena Kyle is going to be this strange outcast goth girl, and Bruce Wayne is going to be maybe less charismatic, maybe more unsure of himself, just growing into himself, as it were. This is of course Batgirl. I don't know why they have her in here. She's supposed to be a lot younger than Bruce Wayne. But she's like the traditional dork. See, everyone is an outcast in their own way, and this is why I like this trailer a lot better, because they capture the essences of these characters as if they were in high school. Bruce Wayne is not using social media. No one is out of character just for the sake of YA nonsense. They're all characterized as if the same characters we've all known for years have been just progressed to high school. Selena Kyle is this goth girl trying to find out who she is. Bruce Wayne is less confident in who he is. Uh, Babs is not yet comfortable with her nerd persona, so she's here and very not lacking the confidence, and getting with Bruce or doing anything. She's just a bookworm. and she doesn't have that confidence yet. She doesn't have all the skills that she's going to grow into later on. She's her own flavor of outcast. And of course, Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are going to be more popular. They're going to be the cheerleader type. Of course, they are. Poison Ivy is that she has that flirty personality. That's her whole personality is on attracting men and brainwashing men with her pheromones and all that stuff. And Harley Quinn is just well, she comes off as an airhead blonde, so that kind of fits with the cheerleader the cheerleader dynamic. How it's usually portrayed anyway. Of course, they can have their own problems too. I mean, we can go over them also. It's not like they're being set aside. And then Joker here is kind of participating but half-heartedly, so kind of like browbeaten or convinced. It looks like he's been convinced to help cheer them on, as if he's doing a favor, although begrudgingly. But this seems to be a Joker sort of. I can see the Joker doing this, especially as a kid or in high school. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why would Joker be in high school, with the same high school as Batman, and already be with his white skin and all that stuff? Yeah, it's ridiculous. I know, but this whole thing is predicated on ridiculousness. This whole thing is improbable. It's just a reimagining of the Batman dynamic, but in high school. But the reason I like it is because it seems to be a lot of fun. It's not no character seems to be given the absolute focus. We get to see all of them. We get to see and they seem to be still in character. The character consistency seems to remain intact. I could see these characters in this trailer being the younger versions of the characters we would soon get to know as Batman's enemies, as Batman's allies, and as Batman.
And you still don't have the right look, and you don't have the right friends.
I really like the way that let's see here. You don't have the right friends. I like how it's like a Cobblepot, the Penguin, and the Riddler are the nerds, and they're being picked on by other Batman villains who are Killer Croc and maybe Deadshot. I'm not really sure who that guy is supposed to be. But I really like the fact that the villains are picking each other. At the nerdy villains like Edward Nigma and different looking villains, like the ones who with physical deformities that would absolutely be made fun of in high school, I forgot his first name, but the Penguin, Cobblepot, Oswald Cobblepot, that he would be picked on. That of course they'd be picked on in high school. Of course they would be. Is actually accurate. And of course, Killer Croc would be a big bully jock. Of course he would be. I like this stuff. I love it. I want to know that I'm really interested in seeing how they would have portrayed Edward Nigma. Because the Riddler is my favorite Batman villain, at least one of them anyway. Let's see here. Raz maybe, Bane. Oh, it could be Bane maybe. I think it could be Bane because look at all the muscle, and that he kind of has the horns there. It kind of looks kind of Hispanic. I don't know, but it could be Bane. It could be Bane. And see, in Creative Imagination, it's pretty accurate high school. See, that's exactly what I mean. It's a pretty accurate. It's not YA weirdness. It's like a really honest portrayal of what we think a typical high school is. It feels like a good show, a very entertaining show. As long as you don't get too bothered by the fact that this never happened. This could never have happened ever. Killer Croc is already Killer Croc. He's already he had the sharp teeth and the gray skin, all that stuff. It's already done. Like the Joker already has his white skin and his green hair. It's already done. This wouldn't happen. So let's see here. Let's see here. Let's check out see when it happened.
Right friends, nothing changes but the face.
I really like this idea they have here. Just this idea of Harvey Dent. He's not changed yet, but he has like two colored hair, and we like the idea that he's running for student council president or student body president against Poison Ivy, because of course she would be running because she's probably the most popular girl in school. You know, the cheerleader, the popular type. That's probably what probably would be the dynamic. And Harvey Dent is probably the most popular guy in school. because he was a politician. He was the guy who ran for for what? I forgot what he was. I think he was a defender or something like that. A prosecutor. I think he was prosecutor. But yeah, I like this episode. It seemed like a whole interesting episode to me. The Harvey Dent running against Poison Ivy and seeing how Bruce handles this and how the Batman crew handles this, and see what happens. Because I could see that they're not actually going to be hating each other right from the beginning. They're probably going to be somewhat friends at most. I mean, because Harvey Dent was actually Bruce Wayne's friend before he became Two Face. So I think it'd be really interesting to see Bruce Wayne interact with these other characters, and I think it'd give more impact over time overall, knowing that they would be soon eventually become mortal enemies.
Says the names and the trends. High school never ends.
I wish they spent more time on Mr. Freeze, but look at Mr. Freeze. He's just like a weird kid. He's bald. He's like a beatnik. He's like a beatnik high schooler. He just needs a guitar or something. Judging by this, I think I might be Bane because he is known for being strong. Just like Killer Croc is. There's Oswald Cobblepot. He's just this little short Danny DeVito-esque dorky guy, and there's there's my man Edward Nigma. There's Scarecrow, by the way. The Scarecrow. There's Harvey Dent. There's the Joker and Harley Quinn. There's Poison Ivy. There's Victor Freeze looks like the guy who'd always keep a cool head. You know, I mean, he's like that beatnik. He's not really rattled very easily. A smart guy, maybe a smart guy too. He's the doctor part. And I don't know who this guy is. He's got dreadlocks. I don't know what this guy is. Well, this is Selena Kyle. This is, of course, Batgirl, and of course Bruce Wayne. There's no Robin. It looks like there's no Nightwing or anything. So I don't know where I guess it would be just those two characters from the Bat family, and no one else. But I have no idea who this guy is. Who do you think this guy is, Chad? Who do you think this guy is? He has like an apron, kind of a sad look on his face. I have no idea. Let's see here. Let's see here. Is it the human race? Is it supposed to be Alfred? This time I don't think so. This time I don't think so. I don't think it's supposed to be Alfred this time. The author, you have a dislike. The SJWs are here. Well, I have my own dedicated people who love me so much. They have to dislike my video. Fantastic, fantastic. Dislikes help the thing, chat. So there we go. There we have it. There we have it. Anyway, I have no idea who that guy is. Hugo Strange, maybe? Maybe Hugo Strange? I see, that might be it. I don't know who that guy is. I have no idea, actually, Chad. So, we'll see. I mean, this is the picture they end with, and I'm pretty sure this would have made at least an adequate show. I really like the premise that one person is given all the focus, so it looks like they're going to have episodes that might focus on one guy or the other, one character or the other, and it probably would have been a good show. I mean, of course, they're going to start with Bruce Wayne and Batgirl, Babs, Barbara Gordon, and then they would probably move on to their dynamic and interactions with these other characters, and then of course they would move on to other things. Maybe they have a whole episode on Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Who knows? It would have been they're ready to explore everyone, it seems. And I really like this characterization of the Joker, who is a weirdo looking kid who's he's an outcast, social pariah who happens to be dating like this popular cheerleader girlfriend, and this is exactly what I thought the Joker would be like, kind of the weird kid, the social pariah, and he should be lumped in with Oswald Cobblepot and Edward Nigma. That's the way it should go. Not he's also really handsome and charismatic and a ladies' man and all that stuff. I don't think so. I don't think so. But anyway, we have some more nonsense to go over. Don't you worry. Lots more nonsense to take over the stream for us. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Share screen. Lots more, chat. Lots more. Don't worry. Here's a video by your boy Yellow Flash. As he goes over. Okay, remember, if you recall the You were here for when I covered the New Warriors, right? And the New Warriors being that Marvel catastrophe with Safe Space and Snowflake and Screen Time, who runs on Internet Gas, Fat Door the Explorer. Those people, everyone hated them. Everybody did. But of course, uh, people have to come to their defense because it's woke to do so. And if you didn't remember, the New Warriors were the people was the new IP coming out, or not new IP, but the new version of New Warriors came out. They hit YouTube with a trailer, and they're hit with over 160,000 dislikes on their video. Is at 160,000 dislikes now, and of course, even though everybody hated it, guess what? According to a Marvel writer, if you were one of the people who disliked this video, if you were in the 160,000 dislikes on this video, you are, of course, a racist. So let's see what Yellow Flash has for us today in this little dynamic, this little tidbit of information. See what he has for us today.
So I knew I'd end up making this video eventually. It was only a matter of time till people in the comic book industry started to come to its defense because it is a glorious ratio. I don't think I've ever seen this. 160K dislikes. I think that's almost up there with Ghostbusters 2016. That is beautiful. Because it's a stupid book. Character gets powers from internet gas, and you have two characters named Snowflake and Safe Space.
See, we're not the only ones, Chad. We're not the only ones who find that really peculiar. Everyone seems to think so. What is internet gas? What exactly is internet gas, Chad? What is that? Because I said before, it's the only thing I can think of is that it's farts. That he just farts out Wi-Fi. What is internet gas? Did Kibble Smith not understand how the internet works? He wanted to make like a hip millennial superhero. So he asked one of his nephews or something, "Hey, how does the internet work?" And they don't want to put up with Kibble Smith's nonsense. So they go, "I don't know. It just runs on internet gas. Oh, like a car. Yeah. Okay. So everyone knows what internet gas is, though, right? Oh, sure, for sure. And then he made a hero powered by experimental internet gas. Not internet gas, as if that's peculiar enough, but the experimental internet gas. As if, okay, guys, I know internet gas exists. Kibble Smith is saying, I know internet gas is a thing. However, he gets his powers not from just your typical ordinary internet gas, but experimental internet gas. Of course, you're racist for not liking these people. Of course, you are.
And then an overweight character that charges into action, which I say, she would also gasp for air for another 30 seconds afterwards.
Yeah, is that why she has heart monitors on her literal jacket? Because he runs into action, and they need to know if she has a coronary if she runs too much into action. God of Plague, thanks for the 2. YouTube poop is internet gas. That's actually a good point. Actually a good point. Maybe YouTube poop is the internet gas we're talking about. He's powered by YouTube poop. It could be. That could be possible. That just might be the thing. By the way, chat, I've been getting some comments on my videos that have been making me laugh like out loud. Like seriously, it's been fantastic. I got one. It's somebody commented on my stream about what was it about the Rise of Skywalker, and I think I complained about how come Palpatine is getting killed by his own lightning. He doesn't just stop it, and they answered my question for me, chat. It was fantastic. Now I know. Now I understand. My Palpatine couldn't stop his lightning in Rise of Skywalker, and that's because he in the tweet. I mean, not the tweet, but the comment was, "Have you ever tried peeing and then cutting it off midstream?" Now imagine if there were lightning. Yeah, check your privilege. So apparently, shooting force lightning is you can't. It's really tough to cut it off. It's like cutting off peeing midstream. It's really painful, really difficult. So now I understand. Now I can understand Palpatine's plight, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I loved it. And then there's another comment. I forgot what it was. Hold on, chat. Let's see here. Oh yeah, someone brought up the fact that, of course, of course, Luke's uncle would want him to finish his chores first before he goes to Toshi Station, because Toshi Station is, of course, a strip club. And he's not going to be coming back from there anytime soon. And they rerouted me to Robot Chicken, which was hilarious. So okay, that's why he wanted him to finish all of his chores. Like those, I don't need you to go messing around with your friends just yet, Luke. You have chores to do. Okay, you're going to go over there. All you're going to do is go over there and you can spend all your money on space strippers. People have been just fantastic lately. It's awesome. I love it. Alex Halo, thank you very much for the vibe. Appreciate it. It's more hilarious name than the gas that gave Static his power. Bang Baby Gas. Yeah, that is right. That's what it was called, wasn't it? Bang Baby Gas. Static is my favorite hero, though. Yeah, Static Shock was awesome. I like that show. And that's why Gotham High, the other trailer, the second trailer I showed you. That's why I was excited for that one, because it's kind of reminding me of Static Shock. And I like Static Shock. But yeah, the gas that made them into mutants or whatever, that was hilarious. It's called Bang Baby Gas. Can you think of nothing else? Did you run out of names? Anyway, let's continue with the Yellow Flash.
Words. So it's a dumb idea, and people recognize it as such, and that's why I got 160K dislikes. Nobody likes it. Everyone comes to the conclusion that it sucks. In fact, both sides of the aisle seem to agree, for somewhat different reasons in some cases, that it's stupid. But the important aspect is that most people think it's dumb. The people that it's trying to pull over to like it think it's offensive, and then everybody else just thinks it's stupid. So it's fun times. But if you are Venom writer and Thor writer Donny Cates over at Marvel, well, then you would think...
Here's where it gets good, chat. Here's where it gets good. Let's dive into this. Cates has been on the rampage, so as it has been so many other comic pros recently, because they're all in danger of losing their jobs. They're getting other jobs, or they're very scared right now. They're in full panic mode, full meltdown mode, chat. And they're still berating you. They're still talking down to you from the soapboxes.
That all 160K people that hate it are a bunch of bigots. That's right.
So they say, remember Comicsgate, according to Donny Cates, if you think the new Warriors book looks like absolute trash, you're a hateful bigot. Cates, let's see here. Cates called all 150,000 people who clicked dislike on the promo video bigots. In his view, that's the only reason they don't like it, because you're a racist or a sexist or something. That's the only reason you can possibly dislike the New Warriors. Even though the Mary Sue, another propaganda wing of all of woke culture, even the Mary Sue didn't like it. They found something to hate about it, which is not surprising. But you think they'd be championing this because they have a fat lady at the lead head here. And the Mary Sue really likes fat women. The Mary Sue really likes fat main characters, fat female main characters. That's what the Mary Sue really likes. I'm not really sure why. I wouldn't try to hand her a guess. I wouldn't even dare to attempt at a guess as to why the Mary Sue really likes fat women being heroes and all that stuff. But they do. They do nonetheless. But even they disliked it. So you're calling the entire staff of Mary Sue bigots too, Donny Cates? Donny Cates has been really, really hot on the condor, especially recently.
Right. Remember #CG. According to Donny Cates, if you think the new Warriors book looks like absolute trash, you are a hateful bigot. Cates called all now 160,000 people who clicked dislike on the promo video bigots. In his view, that's the only reason they don't like it. Because of course, that's pretty much it.
I don't know about you, chat, but bigot sounds delicious. I'm going to use that word from now on. And some nice, tasty, fresh bigots right out of the oven. With extra butter, and especially extra salt. You can't have some bigots without that salt, chat. It just doesn't go together. They need to go together. They need to go together. You can't have nice, fresh, steaming, piping hot bigots without a heaping helping of salt.
So here's the tweet to my bunch of friends here. Let me say that this tweet was 100% aimed at people who are offended by the inclusive nature of the book. You know the ones. Okay, I deleted the original tweet in this thread. My intent was to make fun of all the bigots and people making hateful comments towards the book. But obviously, my intent doesn't matter if my wording was hurtful to all my NB and multiple lettered friends and fans.
They're called the alphabet people, Yellow Flash. Let's call them the alphabet people. It's going to keep on adding letters onto that thing. Let's call them the alphabet people. Okay, so Donny Cates comes out and says, okay, I deleted the original tweet because a lot of people came out and disliked it because they felt like it didn't represent non-binary people enough, which is why the Mary Sue disliked it. So, of course, when Donny Cates says everyone who disliked that video was a bigot, he was calling a lot of quote-unquote non-binary people bigots as well. And big no-no, Donny Cates. Big no-no. You can't go against the alphabet people. Not the position you're in. Not in the position you're in, sir. So of course he had to come in and apologize because he wanted to offend us. His goal was to offend people who don't like heroes being ruined with political propaganda, aka bigots. He wanted to offend people who like good stories and good characters. He was not intending to offend the alphabet people, which he did. Okay, I deleted the original tweet in this thread. My intent was to make fun of all the bigots and people making hateful comments toward the book. But obviously my intent doesn't matter if my wording was hurtful to my NB and alphabet people friends and fans. Now you care about the fans. You only care about a certain subsection of fans apparently. Not people who had an opinion on the New Warriors. So they only respect one subsection of fans, chat, and it's not you. It's not us, chat. If you are not in lockstep with the with Donny Cates and the people that are upset by this, then you doesn't matter what your gender is or your outlook is, you too are a bigot. If you like good stories in comics, you like good characters, and you want Batman to stay Batman, you want Wonder Woman to stay Wonder Woman, you want Superman to stay Superman. If you want your characters you've known and loved for decades to remain how they are and to continue to be written in character, then you are a nice piping hot bigot, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Fans, apologies, guys. So this lines up with typical behavior of people who work in the comic book industry. Cates used to actually be kind of humble, but as his head has gotten bigger, he's turned into more of a traditional comic book pro, which shouldn't surprise anybody. This is one that treats fans like trash and could care less about keeping fans. Basically, you're all istophobes if you don't like anything. So
Yeah, there should be some people actually used to be humility. Actually used to be humble. Actually had some humility. I used to placate to fans, used to love their fans. Now, ever since the dawning of this political ideology, this social justice nonsense, how it took over the comic book industry, it's managed to inflate the egos of all these comic book pros because they just hang around in the little bubbles and they all just spend all day congratulating each other, emotionally validating each other, and assuring one another that they are above everyone else. So of course they come back at you after a while with inflated egos, saying that if you hate my work, according to them, if you hate my work, then of course it's not me who did wrong, it's you who are wrong. You cannot understand the genius of my work, that sort of thing. Or you hate my work because you are a bigot, that sort of thing. It's not you. It's not the writer who has the problem. It's not the writer who dropped the ball. It's the audience who failed to like it. It's that dynamic, chat. It's your obligation to like. It's our obligation to like whatever they put out. It's our obligation to be the consumer, not the critic. You're not allowed to critique it. We're just supposed to consume it. Critiquing it is going too far. We are in their eyes, we are all the pay pigs of Donny Cates, DC, and Marvel.
according to the writer of Venom, If you don't like this, well, you are an istophobe and you hate it because it's got POCs in it. That's the only reason. Not that it's stupid and dumb and the designs look like they were made by somebody on Tumblr. No, you're just a racist. That's it. There's no other reason.
Yeah, it can only be because you're a racist or a bigot. Could be no other reason. There's no person on earth who is a person of color who just likes this. Apparently, it's all these evil bigots. Okay, get out of your bubble. Okay, Johnny, Kate, get out of your bubble. Okay, just a little bit. Like so many other people, you live in your bubble so long it's filled up with your own farts. You love the smell of it, I know, but it rots your brain. It clearly is rotting your brain. You need to get out of there and sniff the fresh air every once in a while. And you can get right back into your bubble, but sniff the fresh air every once in a while. You'll be all the better for it. All the better for it.
Other than that. Of course, old Donnie Cates, he's a swell guy. Let's take a look at these tweets he put out. People who think it's cool, it's a cool time to jump into threads about positivity during hard times with the express intent on being an a-hole are essing on your work.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the pencils down thing. This is it. This is the what I mean by when the comic book pros are becoming panicked, that they are running around and like chickens with their head cuts off. They have no idea what to do. Their nice little fantasy has been smashed to pieces. It's no longer viable. It's so delicious, chat. It's so delicious because these are the people who either participated in or cheered on cancel culture of so many other pros and tried to revoke the career of so many other people, try to ruin the lives of so many other people, only for them in the end to suffer the same fate. It's delicious, ironic, and karmic justice. Criminal Imagination, thank you very much for the vibe. Appreciate it. All those people they tried to cater to who ended up hating it, they don't count. Yeah, they don't count, chat. Obviously, they don't count. Let's see here. Let's see here. Serene Forge works. You would think that if there are so many racists, they would hate them so much. Then would a mob of people outside their house to lynch them? Oh God, they probably do believe that. They might actually. They might. And see, so yeah, Criminal Imagination. They try to pander these people so much. It'd be one thing, right? It'd be one thing if they tried to pander these people inside of a good comic book, but their method of pandering to these certain people, these certain demographics, these being inclusive. Okay, their idea of being inclusive is not actually being inclusive. It's pandering to the people that they think are being forgotten about or passed over in their minds. It's about catering to these people, but at the same time alienating everyone else. So not being inclusive. They're alienating you, chat, and they're alienating us, but including these people. So they call it inclusive because they're including new people, so to speak, but they're actually not being inclusive because they're alienating and outcasting everyone else. And it's not it's you don't get we don't get the same consideration, chat, because all the people they deemed protective classes, they get the consideration of, oh, you've been passed over by society, you've been forgotten about. Let us be the saviors. Let us DC and Marvel be the saviors and include you in our comics. And then we come to them and say, hey, you've forgotten about us. You're alienating us. We don't want this stuff. We don't care about the stuff you added in, but you've added in this stuff at the detriment of everything else. And we wanted the other stuff. We wanted everything else. We wanted the good superheroes. We wanted the good superhero stories. And instead of saying, oh, we forgot about you, we've passed you over, haven't we? We're so sorry about that. Instead of saying that, they say, oh, you're just a bigot. You're just a hateful person. You're a toxic fan because you don't like this. Get out of here. Do not buy my comics, they say. That's what they say. That's what they say to all of us. So we don't get the same consideration. We don't get the same consideration because the comics were always there. But if those people that they're trying to pander to now were not reading them, guess why they weren't reading them, chat? It's because they didn't like them. So are they bigots and are they racists because they didn't like the comic books that were already in existence? No. But it's different for us though, chat. It's different for us. They weren't reading the comic books because they didn't like the comic books. Okay, so the only way this scenario works out, the people they're trying to placate to, trying to pander to, were not reading comics. If they weren't reading comics before, it's because they didn't like the comic books before. But they get appealed to. They get kindness and understanding. And then when Marvel and DC pumps out these new comic books, it's because and we don't buy them, and it's because we don't like the comic books. We don't get kindness and understanding. We don't get pandered to. We get demonized and called racists. One rule for thee, another rule for me. That's what they run on, chat. That's what they run on. So don't fall for their it's kind, it's kindness, it's understanding, it's inclusiveness. It's false morality. It's false and fake and very, very shallow. So when Donny Cates comes over here and says that all these people coming into my positive Twitter thread and trying to be mean to me, essentially, this is pencils down stuff. This is us. This is Donny Cates and the other comic book pros trying to suddenly be positive, suddenly be bright, shining people. Okay. Suddenly, after years of insulting us, after years of chain blocking us, after years of acting like arrogant and entitled little brats, for years, suddenly they become chipper. Suddenly they care about us. Suddenly they care about the feelings of others. Suddenly they want to be nothing but positive on Twitter. Suddenly they want to be the harbingers of good deeds, the harbingers of good messages. No. No. Okay. you have been the jerk and the self-absorbed, selfish, egotistical nut job for too long. We could see right through your nonsense, and we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt of being kind. Okay, you're doing this not out of humility, not out of a genuine act of kindness. You're doing this because you're afraid. You're in panic mode. You're afraid that you'll be losing your job pretty soon here, and you want to suddenly come crawling back to us. Have you read that? Ever heard that story about the? Because I keep getting reminded about the story. I forgot what it's called. It's like some hen. I think it's called the story of the red hen or something. Where she wants to bake a cake, right? And she gets all the ingredients, and she goes to all of her animal friends one after another and say, "Hey, can you please help me out with this cake? I need help. Can you help me out with this cake?" And they say, "No, thank you," or "I'm too busy." And she goes to one animal friend after another, and they all give her the same excuse: "I'm too busy. I can't. I can't do it. I'm sorry." And then she goes along and she makes the cake anyway on her own. And then once the cake is finished, only when the cake is finished do all of her animal friends come over, all being freed up conveniently, all being ready to ingest the delicious, delicious food. Now they're ready. Now they're ready to come over and spend time with the hen. And the hen says, "No, you didn't. I asked you for help. You didn't help me. Your kind words are going to fall on deaf ears. I'm eating this all on my own. Get out of my house." This whole scenario reminds me exactly of that story, chat. Exactly that story. So for years, chat, we've been going to people like Donny Cates and saying, "Please, can you please fix these comics so that they're enjoyable again? We're tired of reading about your political agendas, your whiny crybaby rants in the form of comic book scripts. We're tired of that. Can you please fix this? Go back to the way they were. I just want to read Batman. I just want to read Superman. I just want to read about Marvel characters I've known and loved. I don't want to see the political caricatures of them." And they called us racists. They called us bigots. They called us all names in the HW book. They chain blocked us and insulted us for years and years and years. And they touted the fact that there's nowhere else to go. There's no other comic book shops to go to. There's no other publishers you can go to publish your favorite characters. And they say, if you don't like it, don't read it. Don't like it, don't read it. That's what they gave us. And they also requests to please not buy their comic books because they do not like us personally. They have not approved of us as customers personally. For years, chat. For years, we've been asking these people to please stop doing this. We'll buy your books again. Just stop it with the political agenda stuff. and they didn't. But now that their jobs are finally in jeopardy, now that their egos are have finally stopped just affecting the local comic book shops, and have finally stopped just affecting the customer, and now that their bloated, grotesque egos are now affecting them, now they're coming crawling back. Now they're trying to be positive, be inclusive to everyone, even the people who side with Comicsgate. Now they're coming crawling back. Now they're saying, "Hey fans, can you please come back and buy my stuff?" All of them are saying, not just Kate, but all of them. They're saying, "Please, fans, can you please come buy my stuff? You're so wonderful. You're so great. The comic book industry is so wonderful. There's so many good people here. Just don't be toxic." And now we can act like the hen. No, Donny Cates. No. You have insulted us for years. We came to you with help of making a delicious cake, and you have rubbed our faces in it for years. You have told us no, and then spat in our faces every time we asked for help. And now you come crawling to us? Well, the answer is no. The answer is no. I'm not going to be buying your stuff. I'm not going to be just letting you get away with acting like you're a positive person, acting like you become kind all of a sudden, and understanding like you're the understanding guru, like you're just an innocent person who just wants to be positive on Twitter all of a sudden. I don't think so. The fans are not going to let you do that. Okay? You have squandered all your goodwill. So no. No. You posted this on a public platform. Of course, we're going to have some problems. Of course, we're going to respond to your blatant appeal back into our good graces. Not going to work. Insult to the human race. Thank you very much for the 5. Isn't it kind of bigoted to as? Isn't it kind of bigoted to assume someone being of some race slash sexuality automatically means they'll like your thing? Like, yeah, it is. Isn't it kind of bigoted to assume someone being of some race slash sexuality automatically meaning they're liking your thing? Absolutely, absolutely. Because bigotry is basically the definition of bigotry is kind of having a prejudice. It's essentially prejudging someone simply because they have a different political outlook than you, the worldview than you. That makes you a bigot. So it's kind of it is ist or phobe esque behavior to assume that a whole demographic of people will like your stuff because you happen to have a person from that demographic in this story. I don't think it works that way, Chad. If it did, the prequels would have made a lot more money because they added in everybody. Everybody. Oh, look, there's a kid in there. As a kid myself, I think it'd be nice to go see that movie. No, kids don't want to go see movies with kids in it. Not usually. They want to go. They go see a movie with kids in it, yeah, but they want to go see the movie for an adventure. Kids love Star Wars because not because Luke is the same age as they are, because Luke is going through a very fun, exciting adventure. Kids like adventure. They like stories. Who would have guessed? This is why we're trying to tell these people stop putting in politics and start writing stories again, because a very limited number of people will agree with you on your weirdo politics. But most everyone will agree that good stories are good. That I will pick up a comic no matter what it's about, as long as the story is good and the characters are well produced. Not so much else, okay? I'm not going for your politics.
Or the end of your jobs are literal scum. I know life is hard, and I truly hope you and your family are safe. But from the bottom of my heart, with
Yeah, that's the second part of this chat. He's angry that we're celebrating the end of their careers. We wouldn't be, Kate. We wouldn't be. We are. We're celebrating the end of your careers enthusiastically and with champagne. But we wouldn't be if you didn't try to do the same to so many other people. You were so high up on your pedestal, so high up on your high horse for so many years. Okay? Looking down on everyone and trying to ruin the lives of every creator, every professional who disagreed with you for so many years. You celebrated this stuff. You tried to destroy lives. I think one person, I think it might have been Kate's. I forgot. I think it was Bendis, though. I forgot who it was. Who it was specifically. Did you know someone tried to dox Yellow Flash? I forgot who it was exactly. I forgot who was specifically. Unless I can find it. I think I tweeted it. But someone actually tried to dox Yellow Flash. It was a professional. It was a comic book professional. They want to ruin your life because you don't like their comic books. Okay, chat. Let's see here. God of the Plague, thank you very much for the 2. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Does the hen use her own eggs to make the cake? I don't know. I don't remember. I don't remember. That'd be really interesting if she did, though. That'd be really interesting if she did. I don't remember how the story exactly went, though. It might not have been a cake. It might have been some sort of other meal, but it was something like that. The hen was trying to make some food. She went to everyone else to help her make it. They all told her no, and they all decided to come back when the food was made. And of course, she denied them. Now, let's see if I can find that exact tweet. Let me see. Why I find that. Let's have the also tones of Yellow Flash bring us into this nonsense.
Deepest sincerity. Every single one of you. Wash your hands, take care of families, be healthy, stay inside, and with all your newfound free time, get effed. Thanks. Much love. Well, why is Donny Cates freaking out? Why is he so upset? Why is he calling everybody istophobes if they don't like New Warriors? Well, comic books are in a tough time right now. A very, very tough time. We're seeing tweets like this come out. Just got the first of the dreaded pencil down emails. Imagine there will be more. It was inevitable after the store closures and Diamond announcement. Sending love to all my comic people, artists, writers, retailers, editors, fans. This really sucks. Well, I would feel bad for all of you if you were nice people, but you've literally spent about 4 or 5 years saying stuff like this to anybody that disagrees.
See, there you go. I'm not the only one, chat. I'm not spinning a yarn here. It's not just me. Okay? It's true. They've been spending years insulting us, and now they're crawling back for our business again. Well, the answer is no. We're going to be like Rorschach, chat. We're going to be like Rorschach. When they shout up at us and reach out and scream, "Save us!" we will answer no. Now, to be clear, to be absolutely perfectly clear, there are comic book professionals who have remained professional. There are comic book professionals who have remained silent on all this, who have chosen to just either go along or just remain silent on this whole thing because they have been threatened and browbeaten into silence. And they might not agree with all of this, but they have been threatened into silence, threatened by loss of job if they don't play along. Those are the people I actually feel sympathy for because they are going to lose their job and they don't deserve to. They don't deserve to. But these people, the people who actively hate us, people who go on Twitter every day, insult fans, drive away fans, paying customers, call you ists and phobes, and all that stuff, who actively try to ruin lives, those are the people that we are laughing at because they are now suffering from the consequences of their own actions driven by the massively grotesque, horrific actions and drives of their own massive egos. Rock and Sano, thanks for $1.99. Appreciate it. You don't offer good stories. You don't call me customer. Instead, you come into my mentions on the day of the. you don't offer good stories. You don't call me customer. Instead, you come into my mentions on the day of the coronavirus and ask me to murder myself respect for money. But comics, they are dead. Now they're coming back and saying, I believe in America again. On the day of the coronavirus. And you asked me to murder my self-respect. Never once you invited me to my home. Never once have you decided to ask, what can I do for you, Godfather? Never once. And now you come to me on the day of the coronavirus, and now you want my respect. I feel insulted. And then the next move would be, of course, Donny Cates saying, be my friend, Comicsgate. Be my friend, customer. But of course, he's not going to say that. Of course, he's not. He's going to double down. He's going to double down all the way to the poorhouse. When you have other comic book pros, real comic book pros who are not dishonest, who do not hate you, like Dan Fraga or Dan Fraga, one of those, who come along. I'm going to show you this in a minute because Dan Fraga is the latest comic book pro who has come over to Comicsgate, and he's being viciously attacked. He's going through he's being unfriended by a lot of people. He's saying he's getting messages from people saying I can't associate with you anymore. Honestly, he's being attacked like Peter Samedi was. But that's not deterring these people. The brave people are the ones who stand up against tyranny. That's what's happening. Yeah, it might suck, but they're standing up. It's not easy to stand up against tyranny. I'll show you that in a second here. Alex Halo, thanks for the 5. Appreciate it. Tug just released a video. They are trying to dox Yellow Flash again. Yeah. I think that's what let's see if I can find that video real quick. If we made a video about it, maybe I can find it real quick. Let's see. Let me see here. I'm going to Yellow Flash a video for right now, and then maybe we'll get into that Umbrella guy.
Agrees with you. I don't feel bad for any of you. I think you're all terrible people, and it's going to be interesting to watch all of you get mad and lash out at fans over the next couple of months. So comic books are kind of in a weird place right now. DC Comics is the only one who hasn't done final order cutoffs. Everybody else has kind of stopped doing them. We have people like Dark Horse saying they're not going to do digital comics, which is a good thing. So if you have a comic book shop, you know Dark Horse isn't going to screw you and put out books and then make the ones that would be sent to you when you open back up worthless. The only one who hasn't said anything so far is DC. So everybody else that makes comics is shutting down. But
okay, Chad. Okay. Here's something else. I think this might be it. If that Umbrella guy is going to be talking about what I think he's going to be talking about, then if you weren't convinced that these writers are absolute scum and deserve everything they're getting from this pencils down movement, then let me pull this up. If I'm pretty sure that Umbrella guy will be talking about it because I think I got the notification from him. Then this should convince you. If the other stuff didn't, then this should. Rock and Sailing for $99. Appreciate it. My stories look how they I'm really liking these Godfather references, by the way. I'm really liking these Godfather references. Very clever. Very clever. My stories. Look at how they massacred my stories. Yeah. That's a meme, too. That's a meme. I like it. It's a meme to like essentially pour one out for all the wonderful franchises that have been ruined by social justice egos and nonsense. Let's see here. The one servant of Santana, who wishes Minnan had won. Would you look at it their way? His friends that are unfriending him were clearly a bunch of bigots. So it's a good thing. Yeah, we're clearly a bunch of bigots. But as Dan Fraga says, and as Peter Samedi says, this whole thing has not deterred them because this whole thing has not lost them friends. It just revealed which people were their real friends. Because there have been people who come out publicly and said, while I don't stand with Comicsgate, I stand with Dan Fraga because he's my friend. Okay? And if I had a friend who was a social justice warrior, if we were actually friends, then them being a social justice warrior would be annoying, and I would obviously tease them all the time about it, but that doesn't mean we're going to stop being friends. Okay? Friends are friends. Your political outlooks and leanings are a whole other thing. It's totally different. So let's see here. Let's check this out. Let's see here. So here we go. Marvel writer wants Yellow Flash doxed and life. Doxed and life? Let me see here. Oh, and his life? Interesting. I didn't see that part. Okay, so let's check out what Umbrella guy
today
has
I'm
to
going
say.
to tell you the
First, a Hatch 450 SX. Thanks for the 2. Appreciate it. They turned Red Hood to a teacher for evil Teen Titans. No, they did. Oh no, they didn't. No, they didn't. Oh, that's awful. That's one of the things they're doing, chat. It's one of the things they continue and love to do. Is these people are supervillains. These people hate heroes because they hate heroes. They hate your traditional Superman-esque hero the same way Lex Luthor does. They hate superheroes because they are closer to villains than they are heroes. That's why they idolize supervillains. They idolize supervillains like Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn. These are all people they look up to. These are people they want to push forward as role models. Villains. And when it's not a villain, it's a hero they've turned into a villain. Not not in universe. They're still seen as heroes in universe, but like a Captain Marvel. I turned her into a villain. They give her a villainous personality with villainous impulses, but they still want her to be a hero. This is a hero to them, chat. This is what a hero is to them. Bad guys, villains, people who act on their little emotional impulses. If someone insults you, then you have full reign to snap their arms or break their bones. This is Chris Chan level stuff. No one wants that. If you're going Chris Chan level, you're going the wrong level. You're on the wrong floor, okay?
Tale of a creator named B. Claymore. Now, this is a guy, amongst other things,
Right. I think it was B. Clay Moore who did it. B. Clay Moore who won Yellow Flash's name. He won Yellow Flash Doxed.
that decided to hunt openly for the dogs of Yellow Flash. He was proud of himself, too, when he found out who Yellow Flash was. I mean, here, he's bragging about it right out in the open. There's only one problem about that. Yellow Flash, he just happened to not be Matt Jarbo, a.k.a. Monday.
Oh. This part I did not know. Oh, this is juicy. So, B. Clay Moore, such a big brain, a genius. They thought Yellow Flash was Matt Jarbo. Mundane Matt Jarbo. They sound completely different. And Yellow Flash hates Mundane Matt. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't really? But Yellow Flash hates Mundane Matt. What in the world brought you to the conclusion that Yellow Flash was Mundane Matt? They don't even sound alike. They don't even have the same accent. They're from different parts of the country. What are you doing? I think someone trolled him. I think someone trolled him hard. I'm pretty sure someone said, or he put out a hit on Yellow Flash and said, "Okay, someone bring me his name." And then someone told him Matt Jarbo as a joke, and he believed them. Oh, this has made my day. This is fantastic. Okay. Okay. He thought Yellow Flash was Matt Jarbo. He didn't even look into it. He didn't do any research on it. Someone just told him, "Yep, his name is Matt Jarbo," and he believed him. Oh, this is gold. This is absolute gold. I love it. Insult to the human race. Thank you very much for the 10. Appreciate it. For a much less classy reference, you don't know. You don't know what I've done here. What I've done to get here. The lies I've told. The lives I've ruined. Wait, this isn't helping me. That is them to a T. That is a social justice warrior to a T. And it's all gone. Let's see here. Reconceno? Sorry, Marvel. Sorry, Marvel. It's just it's business. It's not personal. It's only business. Fantastic. I can't believe he thought he was Mundane Matt. I can't believe he thought Yellow Flash was Matt Jarbo. Okay, let's see what other stuff is in here. This is fantastic. I love it.
Dane Matt. Now, why is this important? Well, because mainstream comics is currently on the verge of collapse. Their only distributor, they're being phased out of the game. Redundancies are being made, meaning they're phasing out jobs. And creators, yeah, they're freelancers, so they don't get in anymore.
Oh, let me see.
Now, those same...
They actually say gullible in DMs. Let me see here. The name you're after is Matt Jarbo. You didn't get it from me. Thank you. Stays with me, but let me know. So yeah, So this is not Yellow Flash talking to B. Clay Moore. This is a troll who told B. Clay Moore is Matt Jarbo, and he believed him. Oh. B. Clay Moore thinks he's smarter than us, chat. B. Clay Moore thinks he's above us and smarter than us in every way. If you didn't know, he thinks he's our superior in every single way possible. Oh, this was just worth it just for this. This is fantastic. I love this so much. Oh, okay. 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 I think we can. uh. Okay. Serene Forge works. All the next morning nonsense. Literature Devil is Harry Clinton. Hey, don't give away my secrets just yet. Okay. Don't give away my secrets just yet. Okay, this is fantastic. I love this. Okay, we can move on. We can move. Let's move on. I could stay all day on this. This is fantastic. But Hex Harper, thank you very much for the 5. Appreciate it. Naming heroes: Mr. Pastel, Mr. Lesbian, Mr. Non-binary, Miss Ethically Ambiguous, Mr. Cardboard, Miss Body Approved, and Mr. Pink. Why do I get to be Mr. Pink? Someone should make a parody about that. Someone should make a Reservoir Dogs parody featuring all of these characters. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you what the identifier is, what the color identifier is for an NCW comic book or an NCW work. They always use the color fuchsia. They always use fuchsia. So every time you see fuchsia in a work, be careful. Be careful. Because you just might be picking up an SJW comic. So that's an easy identifier, so you don't have to actually read through it and submit yourself to that garbage. Just look for the color fuchsia, and if fuchsia is in it, you can pretty much guarantee that there's a good chance it's an SJW NPC comic book or work in general. Because even if it's a cartoon, it has the color fuchsia in there, then you can kind of guess more or less that it's going to be social justice, safe space nonsense. Reconciliation for .99, appreciate it. Yes, Mama, but it was my it was my comic industry. I'll do it. It was my comic industry. I'll do it. Let's see here. Barry Ben, you need to curb your enthusiasm thing on the soundboard. I could get that. I think I might be able to get that actually. Let's see what I can do.
Happened to not be Matt Jarbo, aka Mundane Matt. Now, why is this important? Well, because mainstream comics is currently on the verge of collapse. Their only distributor, they're being phased out of the game. Redundancies are being made, meaning they're phasing out jobs. And creators, yeah, they're freelancers, so they don't get in.
See, I told you, Chad. I'm spitting you on here. The comic book industry is shut down. Well, it's shutting down. It's almost there. It's a little bit more. Once DC closes its doors, it'll be completely shut down, more or less. And also, the reason why, as highlighted here by Yellow Flash and that Umbrella guy, the reason why all these comic book pros are in such such panic mode, is because they were all freelancers. A lot of them are freelancers anyway. Because because the difference between someone who works on Batman and a person who exclusively works for DC, they can hire a lot of freelancers to do the work. But they once you are exclusive to DC, you get that gets you the health benefits, that gets you all this. That basically makes you an employee. But if you are not exclusive to DC or Marvel, then you are just a freelancer, and freelancers don't actually qualify for unemployment, which means that once the cash flow ends from DC and Marvel, they have to get another job. They can't rely on unemployment or anything like that. They can't fall back on that stuff. Let's see here. Got a plague. Thanks for the 5. Appreciate it. Yellow Flash is Sam Hyde. Of course he is. Of course he is. Don't dox him. How does he keep getting away with it? Yeah, the Yellow Flash. We know who you are. You may not be Mundane Matt, but you're definitely Sam Hyde. All right. I bet you. Someone tell BK more of that. I bet you he'll believe that. I bet you he'll believe that Yellow Flash is Sam Hyde.
Money. Now, those same creators that have been pulling nonsense for years, pushing out consumers by the droves, they want to talk about hard times and positivity. They want to talk about you going out and showcasing how you're going to support them. If you don't, well, you're the literal scum of the earth, and well, F every single one of you, get F'd. Thanks. Much love. See, this isn't supposed to matter, nor is it supposed to matter when someone did the same thing to myself. No, now is a new day because these people need you. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that at all. So hey there. So today we return to that wonderful world of adventure. But before we begin, in this time of uncertainty, I sincerely hope that you and yours is doing okay. And from our umbrella family to yours, I would say if you find yourself short on something, if you need help, reach out to folks, including myself, because you know what?
Okay,
We're
hold on,
all in
hold
this
on.
together, and we
I think
sincerely.
Yeah, the video is just dark right now. He's not showing anything at the moment. Let's see here. But yeah, that's essentially what I want to go over with that umbrella guy. Show you that, yeah, Lee Claymore, one of the comic book pros, was actively trying to dox Yellow Flash, probably maybe to sue him or to ruin his life or to leak it to his social justice pals, because these the weirdos who try to destroy your boy Zach's life, who try to destroy people like Ethan Van Sciver, they may not work for Marvel, but they definitely get backpats from Marvel creators and Marvel professionals. They get backpats. They have been given the green light and thumbs up from Marvel creators and Marvel professionals to ruin the lives of their enemies. So I wouldn't be surprised if B. Claymore actively tried to ruin Yellow Flash's life, or wanted to, tried to get his docs so they can, I don't know, sick his weirdo army on him, or to even swat him or something. It's quite possible. Now I want to show you this. I want to show you this video produced by Dan Fraga and Frega. I forgot what his name was. But here's his experience with coming out against social justice nonsense and coming out as a supporter and as an actual participant in Comicsgate. And he has a very similar experience to those like Peter Simeti and other people who have actively come out against social justice, against far leftist weirdos. So here we go. Put that up there. Full screen it, and let's listen to Dan Fraga.
Yo, what's happening? It's Frega Boom. Happy day to you. I'm here to talk to you about Comicsgate and why I am part of Comicsgate.
It's Frega. Okay, it's Frega. Frega. I think he's called. He goes by Frega Boom. I think he's called Couch Doodles on Twitter. Anyway, here he is.
Do you guys remember McCarthyism or Seduction of the Innocent? That book written in the 50s that condemned comic book artists for the things that they wrote about and drew. Well, I feel like we're experiencing those witch hunts again. Ever since I said I was part of Comicsgate, the opposition has slung insults at me, called me a has-been, mother effer, a cuck, a piece of shit, other things like that. Instead of asking the question, hey, if Comicsgate is all of these things like intolerance and bigotry and prejudice, why would Dan Frega be part of Comicsgate? He's not intolerant. He's not prejudiced. He's not a bigot. In fact, the only bigotry and intolerance that I have faced has been from the opposition. The guys at CG, they've embraced me with open arms. I've been getting letters from friends that have basically said, love you, buddy, but can't associate with you anymore. Even got one that said, hey, man, I really care about you, and I think you should go around and tell your other friends, your Comicsgate, so they know who they're dealing with. Like I have like an STD or something. Hey, ring, ring. Hey, it's Frega. Yeah, I've got CG. You've been around me. You might want to check and see if you have it. Would you like me to tattoo it on my wrist? Hey, I'm CG. Now you can see. I'm going to walk around. Well, guess what, guys? I'm Dan Frega. I'm Comicsgate. Come and get me.
And there you have it. He came out as Comicsgate and immediately started losing friends. People he worked with beside for years. Started thinking now he's a racist and all that stuff. Now he's a bigot or a racist. That sort of thing. And he brings up a really good point in this video. Because I think, let's go back. Let's see if we can find it. See if you can find it.
Things like intolerance and bigotry and prejudice. A piece of shit called me a has-been, mother effer, a cuck, a piece of shit, other things like that. Instead of asking the question, hey, if Comicsgate Gate is all of these things like intolerance and bigotry and prejudice, why would Dan Frega be part of Comicsgate? He's not intolerant. He's not prejudiced. He's not a bigot. In fact, the only bigotry and intolerance that I have faced.
See, that's the good question. That's a question that never gets asked, doesn't it? Because we keep in mind that these comic book professionals have been in the industry. A lot of them have been in the industry for decades. They've been in there for a long, long time. And so doing, a lot of these professionals have worked alongside each other for years and years and years. Even Ethan Van Sciver and Gail Simone worked alongside each other before. They know they've worked with each other for years, and they have probably came to know each other at least a little bit. You know, they interact with each other on a daily basis, more or less, or at least on a regular basis, and some occasions. And you know, at least when long enough to become friends or acquaintances, or to feel as if you have become closer than just people who work with each other, just coworker, just closer than coworkers, more or less. Okay. But what doesn't get asked normally when this happens, when you come out and you support a movement like Comicsgate, or you come out and support a movement like Gamergate, for example, or you come out in support of even the president of the United States, what doesn't get asked is, why would this person support this movement? Why would this person support this president? Why would this person support this or that? If this president or this person or this movement was truly bigoted and evil and all these things that everyone says that they are, why would this person who I know, who I've known for years, who we've spoken to each other, we have known each other for years and years and years, we have become more or less friends. Why would this person who is not intolerant, who is not a racist, who is not a sexist, why would this person go towards that movement, support this person or support this president? No. What they do is instead they go, "Oh, I don't care about the decades of friendship we had. You support this person. Obviously, you have been a secret racist or a secret bigot this whole entire time." They don't give you these friends, these so-called friends, don't give you the benefit of the doubt, so they're not your friend. If they abandon you over this, they were never your friend to begin with. They might have seemed like friends. They might have been nice to you while they needed you or while you agreed with them. But the moment you decide to go against them, so the moment that you decide to join a movement or support something you yourself enjoy that they themselves hate, suddenly you are an istophobe. Doesn't work that way. So if they think you're smart and they find out you support some movement they think they don't like, they think is full of bigots and istophobes, suddenly they say, "Oh, you weren't so smart after all," or something. You weren't a so tolerant a person after all. You weren't so good of a person after all. So Dan Frega brings up a good point here. Why don't they ever ask? If they were really your friend, why don't they ever ask, why would you support this movement if it's full of bigots and racists and istophobes? Because I know for a fact, because you are my friend, I know for a fact that you are not a racist or an istophobe. Wonder why? The only conclusion I can come to is that these people were never your friends to begin with, and you're better off without them. They were there to use you. Market sales for $1.99, appreciate it. You can't win. We, the industry, we have a backlog. you can't win. We, the industry, we have a backlog. Yeah, they have a backlog, all right. They have a backlog that no one is buying. No one is buying anymore. It's been thoroughly ruined. Thoroughly ruined. But don't worry, chat. It's not all we have for today. We still have plenty more stuff to go over. If you're willing to stick with me, chat. Are you willing to stick with me? Are you willing to stick with me, chat? We have more to go over. Time's not up just yet. Time's not up just yet. We have more stuff, more nonsense to look at. If you're willing to stay with me, then that'd be fantastic. So let's check it out. So Picard, I think the first season of Picard ended recently. Right? It ended recently. So let's see here. And I'm about to do a video on Picard, but I think this might be interesting. Some of you might be interested in seeing this little article about him. Check this out. Star Trek Picard showrunner Michael Chabon admits he wanted to, quote, piss off or provoke people. Where have we heard that before? Ryan Johnson, is that you in disguise? That's exactly what Ryan Johnson said. That's exactly his excuse that he gave when people got mad over The Last Jedi. Because people got really mad over Picard. People have decided to lump in Picard with The Last Jedi. Not a good sign for Picard. And he apparently the showrunner, Michael Chabon, responded the same exact way that Ryan Johnson responded. He intended to, quote, piss people off. So let's see what they have to say. Showrunner Michael Chabon admitted he wanted to, quote, piss people off or provoke people with his first season of Star Trek Picard. These comments and more came in a lengthy discussion from the showrunner had with Variety to promote the final episode of Picard. Variety's Adam Vary went right for the $1 million question and asked Chabon, so were there things about Picard that you knew you wanted to do that you could sense would test some boundaries for fans? Essentially saying, did you know that you were going to do things that would make people angry? And the Chabon's answer is, sure. To the extent that I was aware of the kind of toxic fandom. There it is, chat. There it is. If you don't like something, you are a toxic fan. If you don't like everything they produce, if you don't think everything is great and positive, and if you have problems with something because the writing is bad, or the characterization is bad, or the characterization is inconsistent, or the lore is being disrespected, or the legacy of the characters that you have loved for decades is being severely diminished, disrespected, or absolutely significantly destroyed, you are a toxic fan. Basically, he's saying if you are a fan of the franchise I'm working in, you are toxic. That's what they're saying, chat. That's exactly what they're saying. They're trying to say it. They're trying to say it as in a different manner to separate, as if the toxic fans were separate from the actual fandom. That's what they're trying to do. But the toxic fans are the actual fans. Okay, these are fans of the franchise. They're just getting upset because you're ruining it. That's why they're upset. They're not toxic. They're upset at seeing something they loved for years and years and years, since probably they were children or even before, that when their parents loved this and then introduced this to them, they're upset that as just a legacy is being disrespected and diminished and obliterated. These are the real fans. These are actual fans. Not the real fans, but the actual fans of the series. They loved it with all of their heart, and they're seeing that you are destroying it. That's why they're angry. That's why they are upset. They're not toxic. They're not toxic for the sake of being angry, okay? They're not toxic at all. They're not there to just say everything is terrible. They're there to say that you did a good job if you did a good job. And they're also there to say that you did a terrible job because you did a terrible job. You outright stole the plot from Mass Effect. How lazy can you be? So let's see what else they have to say. He actually uses the anti-SJWs. He actually uses the term. To the extent that I was aware of the kind of toxic fandom, the anti-SJW, the sad little corner of fandom, you just disregard. You disregard that. You mean the entirety of the fandom, the majority of the fandom, sir, the majority of the fandom, and this guy is very much an SJW. There's an SJW at the wheel of this thing because he hates anti-SJWs. And he loves to placate to all the people that Marvel love to placate to, that DC love to placate to, all of the same people. You are toxic if you do not walk in line with party doctrine. That's why you're toxic. And then he added, sometimes you're motivated to have things simply because it's possibly going. Yes, this is so true. This is the most telling thing that you can get from one of these people. Sometimes you're motivated to have things simply because it's possibly going to piss people or to piss off or provoke people who seem to have missed the memo about just what exactly Star Trek is and always has been all about. This is absolutely true, chat. Okay, this is the only motivating factor these people run on. They want to, well, there's like two maybe. One, they want to be seen as brilliant without having to work, and two, they want to make you angry. They make things to make you angry, chat. They don't make things to make you think or to make you happy or to make you proud to be a fan. They don't make things that will make you intrigued or to make you satisfied even. They make things simply to make you angry, and the fandom, the people who like these things so much, people who adamantly defend these things, are the people who agree. The other people who want to make you angry. The subsection of fandom, not even fandom, but the subsection of people who want to make the fans angry, who want to make Star Trek fans angry, who want to make Star Wars fans angry. These are the people who like this stuff. They like this stuff for the same reason these people made it, to make us angry. That's why it's so filled with bitterness. That's why it feels like you're the I've heard this so many times with so many different people who have never met each other or anything like that about The Last Jedi. That it feels like while watching the movie that the people who made that movie actively hate you. You as the moviegoer. If you watch Picard, it seems that way too. You can kind of feel that they actively hate you. And that's why people hate or can't stand SJW stuff or NPC stuff, because it's not done out of love. It's not done out of some sort of creative spark. It's done with it's pretty much mixed with poison, made with poison. Okay, it's done for the purpose of making you angry. It's done with the purpose, with the drive and the reasoning, because they hate you. It's made not out of a love for a franchise, but out of a distinct hatred for us. That's why they hate us. That's why we don't like these works, chat. Because they're made out of hate and not made with love. So let's see what else they have. Let's see what other nonsense they have for us. You just disregard that. You're going to disregard a majority of fans. Okay. Let's see here. Patrick Stewart's on the United States. There's a time limit to your. Disregard Patrick Stewart. Okay, so you're old. Okay, get off of us, boomer. He then added, sometimes you're motivated to have things simply because it's possibly going to piss off or provoke people. Okay, we read that. And what Star Trek is all about. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've never seen Star Trek before. Judging by how Picard went. Chevron then specifically pointed out the deaths of Icheb and Hugh. In the course of the season, we show the deaths of Icheb, who was a recurring character on Voyager, and then the death of Hugh. I'm pretty sure Icheb was taken away by people in the Delta Quadrant. I don't know how he got here. And then the death of Hugh, who was a recurring character on TNG. Not really. He appeared, twice, maybe 3 times? He was not a regular by any means. He appeared maybe twice. Does that count as reoccurring? We talked about it. We definitely had a sense of there's probably going to be some people who are upset that these characters have died. And so that's why you did it? Because it would make fans upset. Okay. Not the best motivation there. Ted Lehman, thanks for the 2. Appreciate it. They loathe us because they need to re-educate us. Yeah, that's what they want to do. They're making these shows. They're trying to take over these popular franchises because 1, they hate us. And 2, they want to make shows that will re-educate us. That will indoctrinate us into their way of looking at things. They want to take over everything, so we have nowhere to run, and we kind of just have to eventually accept it. He justified Icheb saying, the death of Icheb has now become part of the story of 7 of 9. It felt completely called. So did he just fridge Icheb? Did he just give Icheb the old fridge treatment? I thought that was a big no-no. Fridging, by the way, is killing off a character to motivate the main character. So it came about from a comic where a superhero's girlfriend was murdered and then her body stuffed in a fridge so that he can come by, find her grotesque body that she left behind, her grotesque corpse, stuffed into a fridge, and then be motivated to capture the bad guy who did it. And so Gail Simone named that fridging. So this guy just killed Icheb so that 7 and 9 can be motivated. He just fridged Icheb. That's a big no-no. Big no-no there. It felt completely called for, and we couldn't have told her story without it. Yeah, you could have. You could have easily told her story without the death of Icheb. I mean, the death of Icheb is upsetting partly because it's fairly gruesome, and which I understand, but also because, he's so powerless. He has no agency. He's really a victim. He then justified Hugh's death, but that isn't the case with the death of Hugh. He dies trying to do what he's been trying to do for his entire adult life, which is help former Borg. His death felt meaningful. You mean the death where he just standing there and gets a knife to the throat out of nowhere? Not that meaningful. He didn't die trying to help people. Everyone died. They killed all of his XBs. They got all ejected into space and then shot. His death was meaningless. Okay, he didn't die saving anyone. All of the people he tried to save were killed. Okay, that's actually what happened. Let's see here. Jevon appears to be missing the point about how fans are reacting to the characters' deaths. It's not that the characters died, but it's the fact that these characters had already gone through deep character arcs in previous series. Chabon and Picard seem to have only included them in their story to kill them off. It looks and feels cheap. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. Not only does it feel they included these characters to just kill them off, but the show uses gore and in an attempt to add a shock value to their deaths. That's a huge, huge negative. Yeah, they're just there for shock value. The deaths are just there for shock value. Oh, look, Icheb died. Look, Hugh died. The way Picard treats death, it turns the show and Star Trek into a bargain bin version of Game of Thrones. It's like Chabon knew Ned Stark's death from season 1, or saw Ned Stark's death from season 1, and wanted to clone the emotional feeling viewers got from it. However, he failed spectacularly. He absolutely did. Absolutely did. The reactions to character deaths wasn't the only fan reaction Chabon spoke about. He also went into detail on how he views those fan reactions, admitting he peruses Twitter and Reddit. Oh, you don't say. You do not say. Of course you're on Twitter. You're a social justice warrior. Of course you're on Twitter. I'd be surprised if you weren't. A semantic dragon, Icheb was punished because his OG actor defended Kevin Spacey. Yes, new actor, but they don't care. Oh, okay. 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 I heard about that. I heard about there's something going on about Icheb. He went on a talk show or he had an interview with someone, and he said something along the lines of they won't hire him ever again because he defended Kevin Spacey. He was essentially canceled. I heard about that. I forgot to look back into it, but yeah, I heard about something like that. The actor of Icheb. So let's see. What's they have here? And he says, I mean, one possible response that I could have had, I think some of my partners on Picard do have, is to ignore all of it completely. Or to just take a little glance, maybe look at Rotten Tomatoes, and see what kind of consensus of the reviews from the critics have been, which has been pretty darn favorable, and just sort of leave it. Oh yeah, the critics are going to say everything is good. The critics just love everything. They're always going to say 100% Picard, as long as you have characters in there, moving pictures. As long as it's a functioning show, they're going to like it. They're going to like it a lot. But there you go, chat. There you go. Essentially, what I want to show you from this article, that they fully on admit, okay, that they don't make things out of love. They don't make things to make a new version or a new what they see as a more enhanced or a good continuation, a good character, consistent continuation of the people you love, of the Picard, of this franchise that you've grown to love over the years. If Filoni admit they just make these things to make us angry. That's his motivation. So, and we are all toxic fans, because we dislike or disagree with the horrific turn they took Star Trek. So we're the bad guys now, chat. We're the bad guys because of that. Okay, so let's see here. Now I have a few more articles to go over, or I have a video called "In the Defense of Rey." Now this is not the 2-hour one, but a different one I saw, and from a small channel. And it doesn't seem like one of those guys who says you either like this movie or you're a bad person. It seems like an honest defense of Rey, which is refreshing. So I decided to pull this up and go over. I've not seen it yet. Well, I just read the description. So if he's going to give an honest defense without calling this ists and foams and all that stuff, then I think it'd be worth giving an honest look and trying to take it seriously and answer it seriously, and consider the arguments seriously. So would you want me to go over more articles, chat, or would you want me to go over a video called "In the Defense of Rey in The Force Awakens"? So let's see what happens. Let me know, chat. Let me know, chat. Let me know in the comments. Give you a few seconds here. A few seconds to catch up. Let's see. Let's see. The video. I'm seeing video. Okay. It's not that long of a video. It's about 7 minutes. Shouldn't be too harsh. But let's see. He seems to be like giving an honest defense of Rey, at least in the tone. In the tone of the description, it seems that way. So let's check it out and take this seriously. Okay. The one servant of Santania who wishes Menlin had won. You mean he's not smug about liking Rey? That doesn't sound like as much fun. What are you going to do? Rub his back and what are you going to rub back in his face if he's wrong? I don't know. It's but we'll see. I haven't seen the actual thing yet. I haven't seen the actual video yet, so we'll see what happens. We'll just honestly answer his arguments. Let's check out. We'll see what he says.
Hey guys, Ryan Martian here, and before I even get into what I'm going to be discussing today, I want to say there are major spoilers ahead right from the very beginning. I tried to be a little vague with the title of this video because it would have been a huge spoiler in and of itself. There are also spoilers for A New Hope, since I will briefly touch on that film as well for comparison. Therefore, you have been warned. Big time. What I'm going to discuss is specifically Rey's use of the Force in Star Wars The Force Awakens. It's been met with some harsh criticism by a large part of the audience ever since Episode 7 was released. Many people found it absurd that Rey was able to learn the ways of the Force and use it as quickly as she did without any training whatsoever.
Yes.
For those of you that watched my In Defense of Starkiller Base video, number 1, thank you so much for checking it out. This will be another in that same series.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty big one. It's a pretty big gripe everyone has with Rey. No training. That's one of the major ones.
Where I attempt to defend the filmmakers and the other side of the argument. Also, if you disagree with my opinion, that is absolutely fine and I welcome it. This is just one Martian's opinion.
See, there we go. He's giving an honest opinion, because usually in these cases, right, they come out and say that they are right, they are up on the pedestal, and that if you disagree with them, then you are a bad person. But this guy is actually being reasonable, so I think he deserves a little attention. If we gave attention to all those other weirdos, we can give attention to someone who's actually trying to be honest and trying to actually put forth a good argument in defense of Rey. So I think we could, in my opinion, I think we can at least give him that courtesy. So let's check it out. Let's see what he has to say. Honestly, I'll keep an open mind. See what he has to say.
And my intention is simply to open a dialogue in order to explain maybe why. There's nothing really to complain about. Before we get into the bulk of my defense, it's important that I quickly touch on the scene where Rey comes in contact with Luke and Anakin's lightsaber in the basement of Maz Kanata's cantina. A lot happens during that flashback sequence, both visually and orally, as we see and hear quick glimpses of Luke and Anakin's pasts along with Rey's. In fact, there are entire videos on YouTube dedicated to dissecting every single frame of this scene. Most importantly, though, we didn't see and hear everything that occurred.
Okay, so check this out. So, people have who try to defend the movie. Not this guy, but people have tried to defend the movie in my comment section for my videos criticizing Rey. They told me that this is the arm of that Plutt guy who gave her the rations, and because his arm appears in the scene for a few seconds, that is definitive proof that he was her mentor and that he raised her. Uh-huh. Right. That guy. That guy totally raised Rey because his arm was in that because what we can only presume is his arm was in frame for a few seconds. So I wonder if he's going to make that argument. We'll see. We'll see though.
In fact, there are entire videos on YouTube dedicated to dissecting every single frame of this scene. Most importantly, though, we didn't see and hear everything that occurs. Rey is the recipient, and at this point, she is the only one who saw and felt everything. The flashback closes with Obi-Wan's words, "Rey, these are your first steps. Please keep these details in mind throughout the rest of this defense." From what I've discerned, the criticism of Rey's use of the Force focuses on 3 specific scenes and sequences for the most part, and how she appears to harness it easier and quicker as the film progresses.
Okay, now we're getting to the meat of the argument. Let's see what he has to say. Because I'm guessing he's going to bring up the scene where she's locked. She's captured by Kylo, and the mind reading thing, and her uses of the Force. Basically, her uses of the Force without training. That should need training. Should require training to perform. So let's see what he has to say. Well, I think I'll listen to his argument fully and then address it. So we'll see. Let's see how he presents it.
With no training at all. Again, that we know of. The first of which occurs during and after Kylo Ren's interrogation of Rey. Earlier in the film, we see Poe, as much as he...
Well, what do you mean by we know of? She has no training. Okay, it doesn't matter if it happened in a book or anything like that. It was never mentioned in the movie. So if we don't know of it, it didn't happen in all 3 movies. Especially it didn't happen in the first movie. She did not let us know. The movie did not let us know or even hint at a mentor. Which is why I continue to uphold that if she were waiting for her Jedi Master to return instead of her parents, it would solve a whole lot of stuff because we don't actually need to see her train. Okay, if we can understand that she has been trained by a master, by a Jedi Master, and that she's waiting for the Jedi Master to return, then we can already presume that she's had some sort of training. But since they say nothing, we can't say that, oh, she might have had training, because we get no hint whatsoever at a mentor or anything. In fact, most of the defenses say that she's a prodigy and that she's just self-taught because she's a prodigy. She's self-taught because she survived in a harsh desert world because guess what? She's just awesome. That's essentially how it goes. And so, no, unfortunately, that's not a really good defense. That us saying that she has no training that we know of, because you can keep her training ambiguous. It's like Luke Skywalker's training was ambiguous in the Return of the Jedi. What you can't do is just have us presume that she had training without them hinting at that she had training. So you can't have the line that we know of without even ever having a hint of a mentor for Rey. Because while Luke Skywalker's training may have remained ambiguous for the most part by the time the Return of the Jedi came out, we knew he was being taught by Yoda. We give no such hint. We get no such hint at all for Rey. She's just awesome. And that's where the problem lies.
He tries to struggle, allow Kylo to read his mind in order to secure the location of the map to find Luke Skywalker. He obviously doesn't give in right away, but it's important to note that he eventually does relinquish. Kylo's use of the Force is simply too powerful for Poe to resist. Now, when Kylo first interrogates...
So he admits that Kylo is powerful in the Force. So we'll see what he says here. Should be interesting.
Rey, he is able to pick up some basic feelings and vague mental pictures from her. She is lonely and desperate to sleep at night. He sees an ocean, an island, and Han Solo. After this, she almost warns Kylo to get out of my head. At this point, both Kylo and Rey seem to be struggling with each other. It's no longer a one-sided interrogation, and in fact, Rey now appears to be the one in control, with Kylo backing away. She tells Kylo that
Yeah, it's a huge Mary Sue moment because Kylo has been trained. And just like I said before, we haven't seen Kylo trained, but we know who his mentor/mentors were. And so even though we didn't see his training, there's enough ambiguity there for us to discern that he's had training. So I wonder what the defense of this one is.
he is afraid that he will never be as strong as Darth Vader. As soon as she says this, Kylo is the one who relinquishes, and he quickly leaves to report her power to Snoke. This was her first step. Back in the interrogation room, Rey attempts to use Force suggestion on the stormtrooper guarding her, saying, "You will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open." It doesn't work the first time or even the second time. Finally, she composes herself a bit, and after the third attempt, it works. She uses it one more time to tell him to drop his weapon, which serves two purposes. As a comedic beat for the audience, but also, and more importantly, in regards to Rey gaining more confidence in her abilities. This was her second step.
Yeah, that was also a Mary Sue moment because she, again, didn't have training and is now just using powers out of nowhere. Because usually in this instance, where you can have scenes like this where the character fails and then succeeds without having some big training montage in between. When that usually happens, it's because they've already been trained, they've already been told and mentored how this works. They just haven't done it yet. So what they would do was try to use this power, right? They try to use this power, it doesn't work the first time. So they concentrate, they get like that moment in A New Hope where Obi-Wan Kenobi comes back to Luke Skywalker in his mind and says, "Use the Force, Luke. You trust your instincts." So he kind of is unsure. Everyone has failed the first time to shoot the missile or the torpedo into the Death Star, and Luke Skywalker getting ready. And there you have Luke Skywalker getting ready to fire the torpedo, and you have Obi-Wan Kenobi coming in and saying, "Use the Force, Luke. Trust your instincts," which he does, and then he succeeds. Okay, usually when it's like that, it's this instance. Had Rey been trained, this would have been fine, because then we could see her fail and then kind of meditate and remember what her master told her, and then have her try again and then succeed. That's how that scene could have worked. But she needed a mentor. She needed someone to teach her, which would have been again solved by her waiting for a Jedi Master to return and not her parents. So that's why it doesn't fit that. That's why it was a Mary Sue moment. Because she's had no training. No training at all. And I think his argumentation is that these powers, these assertions of force powers are hints that she's had training that we don't know about, that we revealed later on. Uh, doesn't work. It doesn't work because we need at least a little hint of her being trained, and just using powers out of nowhere is not a hint. Okay, and it's in the movie, it kind of comes off as if she's never known of the Force. She just like kind of learned of it that movie over the course of that adventure and how it works and how things are done. Okay, she's like a newbie of it. It doesn't seem like she knows what it is or is familiar with how the power works. She's kind of instantly catches on. That's why most of the defenders come out and say that she's a prodigy and not really someone who's already been trained. Because usually in the story you have to give at least some hint as to some mentorship for this to come out. And it'd be one thing if she were just using like a force push or the primal powers of the Force, but she's using brain control. And she outmaneuvered and overpowered a man who is powerful in the Force and who has been trained in the Force. Kylo Ren, which was admitted to in this video. So I think that's where he's going with this. We'll see what the rest of his argumentation is.
Let's jump ahead a bit to the confrontation in the snowy forest. Kylo uses Force push on Rey, temporarily knocking her out, and quickly defeats Finn in a lightsaber duel. During the duel, Rey can see her friend, via some nice camera work by JJ, struggling with Kylo. As Kylo attempts to retrieve Luke and Anakin's lightsaber from the snow using the Force, he appears to struggle mightily. You can see the frustration on his face. A few seconds later, the lightsaber comes flying out of the snow, right past Kylo's face and into Rey's hands. JJ brilliantly reuses the musical cue Burning Homestead from A New Hope for this moment. And it's not just used for the sake of nostalgia. It's the scene when Luke sees his dead aunt and uncle burning right in front of him. Luke realizes he has nothing left on Tatooine and finally decides to follow his destiny with Obi-Wan. This was Luke's first step. As Rey grips the lightsaber after retrieving it from the snow, she is also realizing her destiny. This is very, very important, and I think a lot of people have missed this connection. I can't even describe the amount of goosebumps and feeling.
Thought that she ignited her lightsaber and is embracing her destiny. I think that's what was meant actually in that scene. And she'd been trying to run away that whole movie, and the moment she picked up the lightsaber to face down Kylo Ren, yeah, she was embracing her role as protagonist. Because she's already, I'm a Mary Sue. I might as well. I've been chosen by the universe to be the protagonist. Might as well be one. Might as well be one. I mean, why not? Well, yeah, he's spot on here. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for with that scene. It's pretty clear that, given to what's happened up until now, that Rey has been running from from her responsibility, trying to go back to her home, trying to wait for her parents, and she's been running away every time responsibility tries to land in her lap. And then this change here, where she is picking it up and embracing her destiny, essentially, by facing down Kylo Ren with her lightsaber, being motivated by I think the supposed near death of Finn. That's pretty spot on, but doesn't mean that she is that her force powers are fine. Anyone could use a lightsaber. Finn just got done using that lightsaber a second ago, and anyone can stand up to the bad guy. That's doesn't require force powers. Doesn't require prior training.
Feelings that soared through my body the first time I saw this scene on opening night. I almost cried because the connection was damn near perfect in my opinion. Finally, this was Rey's third step. Now, let's look at Luke's journey with the Force in Episode 4 in order to compare it to Rey's in Episode 7.
Okay, this should be interesting. Okay, let's see what Luke did, and then compare it to. This is head and shoulders above so many other defenses of Rey. I applaud this guy. This is fantastic. He's actually using references and comparisons. It's great. It's an awesome, refreshing argument. And he hasn't called us bigots or istophobes once. It's fantastic. I love it. Bravo. You're actually putting forth a good argument rather than just presuming you're right. You're actually putting forth evidence and references and comparisons and doing side-by-side comparisons. Fantastic. Well done. Rock and Tail, thanks for the L99. Appreciate it. He sounds so excited. It's impossible to stay awake. Yeah, his delivery could be a little more energetic. I think he might be new or something. Yeah, a little more energetic, a little more energy. Low energy. That's one critique we might have of this video. Let's see here.
Within the entire span of A New Hope, Luke receives what I'm guessing to be maybe a few hours of training in the ways of the Force from Obi-Wan while on the Millennium Falcon. This serves as his second step. At the climactic end of A New Hope, Luke is piloting a ship he has never flown before and uses the Force to basically blind fire a torpedoed step.
Back up.
Let's look at Luke's journey with the Force in Episode 4 in order to compare it to Rey's in Episode 7. Within the entire span of A New Hope, Luke receives what I'm guessing to be maybe a few hours of training in the ways of the Force from Obi-Wan while on the Millennium Falcon.
Yes.
This serves as his second step. At the climactic end of A New Hope, Luke is piloting a ship he has never flown before.
Did I miss something? Hold on. One more time, chat. One more time. One more time. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let me see. I think I might have missed something.
Finally, this was Rey's third step. Now, let's look at Luke's journey with the Force in Episode 4 in order to compare it to Rey's in Episode 7. Within the entire span of A New Hope, Luke receives what I'm guessing to be maybe a few hours of training in the ways of the Force
Yes.
from Obi-Wan while on the Millennium Falcon.
Right.
This serves as his second step. At the climax,
Where's his first step? You just skip one. Where's his first step? Is he going to put the first step later? That wouldn't make too much. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. But okay, let's just take it. Because I thought I had missed his first step, but apparently he just starts off on the second step. So I guess we'll go on from there.
climactic end of A New Hope, Luke is piloting a ship he has never flown before.
This is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. I don't know how long it's been since you've seen A New Hope, but they say several times in A New Hope that Luke has become such a great pilot. He's become he's kind of famous for being a good pilot. When he gets to the rebellion base or the rebel base, his friend, I think Biggs, brags to the commanders and stuff how great of a pilot he remembers Luke being. His dad was known for being a masterful ace pilot. He inherited those skills. And it's more than one occasion he's being referenced to being a great pilot and there's also that famous scene where he's going, it's not that much different from Bullseye and Womp back home in our own ships. So he's piloted before. He's flown a ship before. He's flown one. It's fact. That's why he was given a ship in the first place. That's why he was allowed to fly. That's why he did such a great job. He didn't just get in there first time out and then never having flown a ship before and just did a great job. No, he was known throughout the movie. He was over and over and over again. They made reference to his great piloting skills. Now, one thing that the movie could have done was show us his great piloting skills, as to just tell us as an informed virtue of his. But it's there, okay? It's there, and it affects the world around him. In fact, he was such a great pilot. He was such a great pilot that he thought he would make it in the academy, which is why he wanted to go to the academy to become a pilot, which is what their whole confrontation with his Uncle Owen was about. He wanted to go to the academy to get off that world and seek his new life, his new adventurous life through that academy and becoming a pilot. So yeah, he's flown before.
And uses the Force to basically blind fire a torpedo into the hole the size of a mailbox simply because the ghost voice of a dead man he met only a day or so ago told him to.
What? No. What do you mean? No? He only met a day ago? Okay, I'm getting the feeling that this guy did not watch A New Hope before making this video. He's kind of running off of memory. Because he knew Ben Kenobi. He knew him as Ben. He knew him as old Ben. And when he showed up, he's like, "Oh, hey, old Ben, what's going on? Thank you for saving my life." It's not like, "Whoa, you're old Ben." No. He knew him as old Ben, the guy who's the crazy old guy who lives over there. He didn't just meet him a day or so ago. He's kind of like the crazy neighbor who lives nearby. And maybe he didn't know all the specifics about him. Only revealed those specifics when it was he thought it was time to. But yeah, he didn't meet him a day or so ago. That's not how that worked. Also, he went through an adventure with him. He's kind of forgetting the fact that they went through an entire adventure together. They survived the Death Star together. They escaped it together. And that Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, if you want to call him that, he sacrificed his life after teaching him the way of the Force, after introducing him to the way of the Force. So it's not just, Luke Skywalker decided to listen to the ghost of a man, some guy he just met a day ago. No. He decided to listen to the voice of a man who became his mentor, a man he had deep respect for, a man he's probably known for years as a crazy old neighbor, but gained new respect for on that journey that they went on together. So no, it's a little bit more impactful than some guy, the voice of some guy. Okay, you're going into bad touch territory. You're going into bad territory. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss the original trilogy to defend the new ones. You're getting dangerously close to the dark side territory. Okay, careful.
Besides his very brief training earlier, this is also the very first time he ever uses the Force, and he destroys an entire space station as a result.
No, no, because when Luke Skywalker uses the Force, it's just instinct. It's not. He's not like force pulling or force pushing. He's using his instinct to help guide his way to help guide his firing power, to help guiding his accuracy. And as he said in there, he had the skills and the expertise and the experience it took to fire that torpedo in that small hole. He said that it's not impossible. I think the confrontation was in the rebel room, the ready room, was that there's one guy that says this is impossible. There's no way it can fire a torpedo into the hole that small. And then Luke Skywalker says it's not that impossible. We used to do it all the time back home when we talk. What was it? Bullseye and Womprats back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters. The hole was 2 meters big. Womprat's 2 meters big, and Luke Skywalker could do it. So even without the Force, Luke Skywalker could probably do it. Ben Solo was just saying, trust your instincts. Don't trust like a little computer, okay? You've done this for years on instinct. According to the movie, trust your instincts, Luke. Use the Force. Trust the instincts. And that wasn't the first time either, okay? He really had the expertise. The Force just helped him guide it in there, just give him a little boost. But he already had the training, experience, and the development as an accurate pilot to make that shot. This is the Force kind of helped him out a little bit. And that wasn't the first time. That time when he was sensing those blaster bolts during that training, that was the Force. He was using the Force to predict and feel those blaster bolts coming at him, so he was able to deflect them when he had the blaster shield on. So no, it's the exact same thing. It was a foreshadowing. The instinctive power of the Force was foreshadowed during that training, and he would use it later on to win the day during the Death Star run. So no. So all I have to say is no. You're provably wrong.
Amazing.
Provably wrong.
Every
Okay.
word of what you just said was
It's not how
wrong.
that works. What I have to say is, to quote Luke, to quote Luke from the sequel trilogy, that every word you just said is wrong.
Dear.
So yeah, I would suggest to watch A New Hope again before you should have watched A New Hope before making this video. It seems like you forgot what actually happened during the movie. Everything was set up. Everything was foreshadowed. Luke had a mentor. He was not in no way a Mary Sue. He did not just gain powers out of nowhere. He was mentored. And even if you try to downplay like you did, the fact that he only had a few hours of training with with Obi-Wan Kenobi, that's infinitely more training than Rey had. Rey had no training. And at the end of the movie, Luke wasn't pulling all these crazy stunts like dominating mines and lifting mountains and force pulling lightsabers. He was just using his instincts a bit to help guide his missile into that exhaust shaft. And so, the Human Race, thank you very much for the 5. Not calling us istophobes yet, but he does commit the typical sequel trilogy defense sin of claiming the OT was just as dumb. Yeah, unfortunately. But he's still one of the best in my book. He's been the most honest in my book so far. I don't know if that'll last, but so far he's been the most honest in my book. Clearly, my favorite one to my favorite video to watch in the defense, even though it's just the defense. It's just a typical defense that we've heard time and time again. Sequel trilogy. You think sequel trilogy is bad? Like this Family Guy thing. You think that's bad? Wait till you see the original trilogy. Yeah, it doesn't work. This is provably incorrect. Not even by going outside of the movie and saying, "Oh, it's this philosophy and that philosophy, and here's that. Maybe it was that." No, you can just watch the movie again, and you can prove all of this argumentation is incorrect. Just watch the movie, okay?
That's a pretty gigantic third step. Do you guys see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, he blows up a gigantic Death Star that had a integral weakness built into it. They found a weakness. Why the plans were there. That's why the whole the whole plan, the Death Star plan, getting the Death Star plan to the rebels was the entire running, driving plot of that movie. It was all about the Death Star plans. Why? Because it had that one. It could expose that one powerful weakness in the Death Star. So yeah, it was pretty important. I'm pretty sure that if Luke Skywalker had launched a torpedo at the Death Star without that weakness, it wouldn't have destroyed it. Luke Skywalker didn't. It was a combination of Luke Skywalker's ability, his force power, and the fact that the Death Star had this huge, gigantic weakness built into it. It wasn't force power destroy Death Star. Okay, it was Luke Skywalker using a minimum of force power to exploit a weakness in the Death Star. This is another argument they try to do too. He blew up a Death Star and killed thousands of people on the first movie with hardly any training. No, he didn't. Well, yeah, he blew them up, but it wasn't due to the Force. It was due to a minimum use of the Force. He was able to do this, exploit a weakness in the Death Star using his novice level Force abilities that he was trained in. Okay, it's kind of like a novice being able to. Have you ever seen the movie Troy, where Paris, played by Orlando Bloom, was like this weak fighter? He couldn't do anything, right? He tried to fight Achilles once. Well, he tried to fight, I think, Menelaus during that movie, and was beaten outright easily. Started crawling home because he could not stand up to another man. He was just a pretty boy with no actual skills. But he ended up killing Achilles because he exploited Achilles' heel. Okay, Paris could shoot a bow, and he shot Achilles right in the heel and killed him. Didn't take much effort. Didn't take a ludicrous amount of warrior ability. It just took him being able to shoot the right point on the right person, and it killed him. That's what Luke did. It didn't take a lot of force ability. It didn't take him being a prodigy. It didn't take him being like this, getting a huge jump in force power. It just took him taking what Ben or Obi-Wan Kenobi taught him, this basic instinct version of the Force, this basic low level, novice level force ability, which is enhancing of your instincts. It took that low level force ability and Luke used it to help him guide the torpedo, which he already had the skills to do, into that exhaust port in the Death Star, and that's how he did it. Not prodigy level stuff here, because they thought anyone can do it. I mean, if that one guy just barely missed, he almost had it. He wasn't even force sensitive. Rock and Sail, thanks for $1.99. It's really down to one thing. One movie is better. Yeah, A New Hope is vastly superior to anything in the sequel trilogy. Hex Harper, thanks for $4.99. Appreciate it. I need to check my 2-meter wide mailbox later for my LD merch. Oh, fantastic! Appreciate it. Let's see here. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your kindness.
The only difference between Rey's lack of training, which keep in mind, we still don't know if she was in fact never trained before.
Yes, we do. Okay, we can go ahead and assume she was never trained because they never even hint at it. Not once do they hint at it. If she were trained, they should have given us at least a bit of a clue. But they don't. Not even a little bit. And from getting context clues from the movie, we can pretty much assume she was never trained by anyone. So we have more evidence. You have to give us evidence that she was trained, okay? Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and assume she's not. Okay? If your argumentation is going to prove to us that she's been trained, the movie had to provide evidence that she had been. Some evidence, some hint that she had been trained. And no, being related to Palpatine does not make up for her being OP right off the bat.
And Luke's actual training was only a few hours at the most.
So he had training. So your argumentation is that Rey's hypothetical training that we get no hint to and get no notice of was probably much longer than Luke's actual training. Okay, well, that's a new one.
Why is Rey's progression so unbelievable, while Luke's is almost universally accepted as complete?
Because you're just supposing that she had training. It was never hinted at, never told to us. There was no one saying that, oh, that guy was teaching me the Force this whole time. She needed a mentor. Okay, that's what we're saying. She needed a mentor of some kind. But they gave her no mentor. That would have just giving her some level of mentor in the first movie would have solved so many things. Because they gave Luke a mentor because he didn't know anything about the Force. So basically, this argumentation comes down to Rey's hypothetical training that was never hinted at and never told to us. Never even, we never even had the smallest clue to this hypothetical training was probably going to be a much longer sense of training than Luke Skywalker's actual on-screen training. That's a new one, but that's really, really stretching it. I mean, that's that's actually kind of dumb. Come on, now. I mean, that's where you're going to argue why Rey is not a Mary Sue because she, in your headcanon, probably had some kind of training off screen that's never mentioned before. And if she did have training off screen that was never mentioned, then it's probably going to be a far more thorough and far longer training session than Luke's actual training that we actually get to see. Yeah, okay.
Plausible. Rey's use of the Force makes logical and sound progression throughout the film.
Rey's use of the Force makes logical and sound progression if your headcanon were true. But it isn't. There's no evidence in the movie that proves it to be true. Okay, none. The only evidence we have is that she uses Force powers at a whim. Complex Force powers at a whim. That require training. We don't get any sense of training. We don't get any hint of her being trained whatsoever.
Comparison, Luke's first two steps, if you even want to call them that, are very minuscule, and then all of a sudden he can control the path of two torpedoes flying through space, and
he never controlled the path. Okay, he never said he controlled the path of those two torpedoes. Obi-Wan Kenobi specifically said, trust your instincts, which means knowing when to fire so that you can fire them correctly, so you can fire them as accurately as possible. He didn't control the torpedoes through space. The only thing the Force did was help him know when to fire so that the torpedoes could be on a positive trajectory to meet their marks. No, it wasn't just like a video game where you can kind of control it with a Force version of a controller or something with a joystick. It was trust your instincts, Luke, so that you know when to fire, so that you don't miss. Because Luke, you can't control these torpedoes, okay, Luke? You can't control them, so you have to trust your instincts, so you don't waste them and you don't miss. Okay, trust your instincts. You'll be able to hit the target.
and it's not even questioned? And that
Yes.
giant staircase.
It's not even questioned because we know what's going on. It's been explained to us. With Rey, the only explanation you have is that it wasn't explained to us, but it happened. That's your explanation. I don't know if you noticed that, but your argument to why Rey is just as good as Luke and not a Mary Sue is it goes unexplained, therefore it happened. Everything we saw in the movie, A New Hope, was explained to us in one way or another. Let the audience know. And it wasn't too overpowering. It wasn't too incredible. Luke didn't do anything over the top. He just used his instincts to know when to fire those torpedoes, which he might have been able to do anyway without the Force. But the Force helped. The Force helped. And maybe that was why it was easy for him in the first place. I don't know. Why it was easy for him to bullseye Womp Rats, because he was kind of Force sensitive. He was just better now because he got some training from Obi-Wan Kenobi. But either way, he wasn't controlling torpedoes. Okay, he was trusting his instincts, as literally said in the movie. Hex Harper, let's see here. It's obvious that she got training from Luke's long-lost evil twin cousin, Juke Sandstrider. Oh, obviously. That must be the case. That must be the case. And see, Rocket Saino, thank you very much for the $1.99. No such thing as guidance systems. That's magic. Yeah, no way. There's no such thing as guidance systems. And Luke was actually going to use his guidance systems. He was actually going to use it like everyone else was going to. Until Ben Solo came in, or not Ben Solo, Obi-Wan Kenobi came in and said, "Trust your instincts," and then he disengaged his targeting computer and trusted his instincts, which told him when to fire. Again, not controlling the torpedo, just told him when to fire.
Of stone steps that Rey climbs at the very end of episode 7, the steps she uses to finally find Luke Skywalker, it looks like her training is in fact only just beginning, and her first steps, as Obi-Wan wisely called them, have come to a close. Considering what she accomplished in episode 7 with little to possibly no training at all, the First Order should be very, very scared. Rey already seems to be more focused and naturally talented than Luke at the end of episode 4. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please...
Yeah, it was better than, I mean, the attitude was better. It was the same exact argumentation we kind of get. It was just a different kind of version of it, I guess, which was refreshing, I suppose. Refreshing. That he came in and said, you know, that, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was a ridiculous argumentation. It was that her progression in the Force is perfectly logical because she probably had training somewhere. Yeah, okay, sure. It's perfectly explained because her training goes unexplained, therefore is explained. Sure. And because it hypothetically could have happened, which it probably didn't, even though we get no sense of hint to it, it's better than Luke's on-screen training that we actually get to see. Because if it did happen, she was probably trained for much longer. Sure. So yeah, it was different. It was not very good argumentation, narrative-wise. It was kind of desperate and reaching. And ultimately, it just fell back on just diminishing the original trilogy. This insulting Luke Skywalker, stomping on the legacy of the original trilogy to prop up the Force Awakens, the sequel trilogy. Barry Bend, I've heard similar argumentation from Gundam Seed, Kira fanboys, when he rewrote an entire OS of Mobile Suit Gundam in 3 minutes. He's a Gary Stu like Rey. He's Gary Stu like Rey is a Mary Sue. That might be interesting then. Might be covering that. That could be cool. That'd be cool. It'd be interesting to look into. Let's see here. Reconcilio Don, thanks for $1.99. Appreciate it. We know your argument is bad. Call someone X. Yeah. Fortunately for this guy, he didn't actually do that this time. He didn't call us ists or phobes or call us dumb, which was surprising and refreshing and commendable. So I commend you, good sir. For even though your argumentation was not that great, and even though you kind of fell back on the old technique of trying to diminish the original trilogy, trying to diminish Luke Skywalker, trying to diminish his relationship with Ben Kenobi or Obi-Wan Kenobi, trying to diminish all of that as the typical strategy is. You did not say that. You did not do so with arrogance. You did so by respecting the viewer and even respecting the viewer enough to disagree with your opinion, because you might be wrong, so you might be disagreeing with you. I think you're wrong. I think I clearly disagree with you, but I commend you on that at least. On that at least, I commend you for being for giving, even though you gave horrible argumentation, even though it's pretty terrible, you did so with respect, and that's always nice to highlight. That's why I wanted to cover this video, because you seem like a person who would do this with respect. And if we gave all these other weirdos who don't do it with respect attention and our time, then I think you deserve at least that. So bravo on having the right attitude. Appreciate it. Well done. If only we had more people like you. And there we go. And Reconcilio, unfortunately, he really doesn't seem to understand his argumentation is piss poor. It doesn't seem that way. He doesn't seem to notice, because it is, unfortunately. But that's the way things go. So let's see. I think I'll go ahead and stop the stream here. Thank you everyone for joining me. I'll probably be announcing, the Doki Doki Literature Club stream coming soon. I'm planning it for next Saturday. I'm planning the second go through, a second attempt at Duncan Cookie Literature Club to be next Saturday. Next Saturday. I'll make sure to put in the comments or something like that in on my channel, the announcement tab or whatever it's called. And I'll announce it on Twitter. This so everyone can plan for it if they want to be there and have time to watch it. Anyone who wants to watch it can. And I'll be keeping that up. So I won't be deleting it or unlisting it or anything like that. So if you missed it, it'll be on my main channel for anyone to see and look at. But until next time, appreciate you for joining me. Hope you had fun. Hope you liked this particular episode. And I hope the bots will allow me to keep it up so that everyone can enjoy it later. But other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a fantastic weekend. And I will see you all